not following the lead. They're seeing it, but they're not going. What if you did the opposite?
Gordon, we can cut this out if need be.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it does feel like you've kind of separated from your body when you have the feedback loop of the headphones.
Yeah, like, this is what my voice sounds like on videos, but I'm hearing it now. I'm like, fuck my voice. This isn't what I sound like.
This is exactly what you sound like.
You're right.
Is this what I sound like? This can't be what I sound like.
No, it's not.
Oh, okay. I'm just making sure.
No, it is.
Oh, shit. But I think I need to get used to it, as I start doing the interviews and stuff. But it is weird. It almost makes you feel like you're like in a dream. Like it's just a little, I don't know. Like, do you think it's that the feedback is too loud right now? Do you think it'd be better if it was like more subtle?
Honestly, I think it's set up fine. I think it's just a little bit like, it's the sensation of watching myself in a video talking, but in real time. At the same time, like, these are probably how our ears should just like hear our voices normally. Why do our ears like fuck us over with like faulty feedback?
That's true. Yeah. I feel like my voice is like more than I feel like it is. It just feels like I just feel like it sounds really deep and like boomy.
Yeah. I think you have a good radio voice.
Thank you.
You're welcome. How do I
That's actually as tall as it goes because they're really for desktop
Gotcha.
stands. So, as I said, not really designed for this purpose. So,
Right.
I think I'm probably just going to hold
try
it.
it? I'm kind of just holding it, but from here.
Yeah, I mean, you can do whatever's comfortable, but whatever's comfortable. But like I said, it wasn't really for this purpose. It's more because for the interviews, I'm going to do them like at the table.
Right.
And then that, like, actually in the lowest setting, it's just like perfect right in front of your face.
Settings are so, like, this setting where you do stuff is so interesting. It's like the couch feels different than the table by far.
It does. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's like going to be more conducive to like interviews though. Like I feel like
Right.
I feel like what we're doing would be strange at the table. It's like a little too.
So tell me about yourself.
Yeah. Like let's sit down and have a conversation and really get into this. It's a little too formal. I don't know, a little too structured. Whereas the couch, like we're just a little looser, as our friend Alan Watts would say. It's a little more wiggly.
A little bit more wiggly.
You gotta have the wiggle. Everything in life is a wiggle.
Yeah.
Speaking of Alan Watts, I started reading that book that you mentioned to me. What is it? The Taboo of Being Yourself? Something to taboo of being yourself.
Yeah, it's like the book
Oh yeah.
on the taboo against being yourself, something like that.
Yeah. I forgot that it had the book in the title of the book.
Yeah, it's clever, I guess, but it makes it kind of hard to.
No, I like it. I like titles like that. It always reminds me of like, have you ever seen the movie Doctor Strangelove?
I don't think so.
That movie, like the title of it is actually Doctor Strangelove or How I Learned to Stop. Fuck. It's like some really long
Stop worrying
thing.
and start living?
No, it's not that. It sounds like that though, but it's kind of like that book in terms of the title. It's like How I Learned to Stop Worrying and Love the Bomb. Something similar like that. And that's not Stop Worrying.
And love the bomb.
Yeah, because it's like about like, fuck. I have to look this up actually. Can you say something interesting as I look this up? So. You're doing a great job.
Yeah.
Doctor Strangelove or fuck.
We're
Doctor
floundering.
Strangelove or How I Learned to Stop Worrying and Love the Bomb. I should trust myself more. I was right. But anyways, I like titles like that because it's just this like weird rambling title kind of.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, I don't know. Sometimes I want to name my YouTube videos like that, but I'm like, that wouldn't work. But I like titles like that. It just seems clever. Like when you have like a really concise title and then you kind of have like one rambling or version of it,
Yeah.
I like that. Something about that is creative to me. Are you getting more used to the feedback loop of having your voice in your brain?
Yeah, I feel fine with it. I'm trying to find like a comfortable position where like maybe I'll just hold the mic.
I think holding the mic is the move with the couch, to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah, this feels fine. I can switch hands.
But yeah, I mean, if this is part of the podcast, if this is confusing, it's because we're using handheld mics now with headphones, so we're like hearing ourselves and monitoring it. It's just a little bit of a different experience, is what we're talking about.
Yeah.
But I like it. The sound is going to be next level. Like, dude, I recorded the other day. I recorded a webinar, like for something I'm doing, and I was using this mic, and it was amazing. And I was reviewing that footage, and then Francis sent me my YouTube video to review. And I had already watched this YouTube video to review, and I was like, oh, this video is great. And then I switched tasks, and I was reviewing the webinar that I did with this mic. And then he sent me the final version of the video, and I like watched it again, and I was like, dude, the mic's broken. Like, what? Because I was using a different mic, and I was like, these are so much better. Because I was using the one that we've been using for my YouTube videos.
Yeah, it really makes such a difference. And there's that incentive to be like, fuck the mics. Like, I'm not going to carry something right against my face and like use all this equipment. It's going to like take me out of the natural groove of it. But I think that it is worth it.
And it doesn't have to be expensive, dude. These mics that we're using individually are, well, I bought them used actually. So I paid less for each of these than that other one is. There's a trip going by, but I don't think these pick this up, but this will be a good mic test right here.
Yeah.
But no, these things, I picked them up for like $65 or $70 each used. These are like,
oh my God,
dude, you can get such good value when you go into like the more studio type of stuff. This isn't like a desktop USB mic. It's like a XLR legit mic. This is what people use on stages. Comedians use these, singers use these. Like, they're just kind of like an industry standard. Mm-hmm. And to me, they sound incredible. They sound so good.
Yeah. Yeah, it does. Sounds good.
Yeah, I'm kind of a nerd with that stuff, like audiophile. I mean, I have like all these other headphones and speakers and stuff.
No, it makes sense. I feel like you've always been interested in like audio, video, just
music, making music,
like the art of it, I guess.
I have like the record player right there. I have some like very particular headphones, Denon AHD 2000, and my floor standing speakers over there. I'm really obsessed with it. I mean, I love good sound. It just changes it completely. Yeah.
I think it's probably likely that once I get to a place, which we were kind of talking about, but once I get to a place where I'm sort of just making like definitely enough money to afford this lifestyle and like can pay my quarterly taxes without like waiting to the end of the year and can just like have finances more in order, and just like then I will feel a lot less pressure with my time as long as the money is like working out. And maybe I would like pursue music in a way. It's something that I would love to do now, but it's just like, okay, how would I learn? Like, maybe I would hire someone for lessons, maybe I would have to drive somewhere, this and that. And it's just like, I think if it could be easier and if I had less pressure to like less like money pressure, I like would definitely.
I get exactly what you're saying, and I don't know, maybe either we're the only two people that feel this way, or a lot of other people feel this way. But I always feel like that is, I just feel like I could get to this point where I'll finally just pursue all the things that I want to pursue. Like, and for me, a big one is getting back into music, because I used to you've heard me say it, is like I used to, play guitar for 14 hours straight without even, eating or thinking about anything else, or making electronic music until the sun was coming up, just because I was like obsessed with this one thing I was making.
Yeah.
And now I don't really get back into that.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder if it's just a matter of how old are you? 26 right now. Okay. Is that stretch in the year where we're both the same? So am I. I wonder if part of it is just 26 is different than being 20 and 21, and maybe our bodies just don't naturally have that sustained attention. And it's interesting because we're more powerful with the attention that we give, just because of everything that we've learned over the last, call it 6-10 years. But the capacity to learn is slowly declining.
That's an interesting perspective, because I feel like the way I've been thinking about it over the past couple of years is more that it's this insane, spiraling out of control distraction culture that's causing it. But that's a fair, hypothesis that maybe it is kind of also just a natural progression of aging. But we're not that old. I mean, I don't know. I think we should still be. I mean,
yeah, we're still really young,
right? And I mean, we should definitely still be able to learn things quickly.
Yeah, you're right. We can. When we're in our late 30s, we'll be like, oh my God, I could learn so much better in my mid 20s.
Yeah. But there are things that are absolutely biological, like the acquisition of language. I mean, it is proven, those centers of the brain are so receptive, before the ages of probably like 7 or 8 or something. I mean, that's when you're just so open to it. Probably, maybe actually even younger than that, I would say, is when you're really open to it. And then it gets a lot more rigid and structured and harder to learn languages. That's like a known one.
Yeah. It's interesting. And in a sense, like learning anything is similar to learning a language. Because there's these like new symbols and new concepts. And maybe a language is sort of the highest example of that.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Language is pretty different than most things, because language is like a framework for how to think.
But isn't learning anything just learning the framework of how to think about it?
Fair. Yeah, I could see what you're saying. But it's like within the framework that we already have, because like the way Alan Watts talks about language is, don't talk about the thing as by its name, because by giving it a name and talking about it in language, you've already missed the point. You've already forgot what it is by using the name. And then once you already have language and you learn anything, you just try to fit that learning into the language that you already have. And you're like, oh, that's a square thing. Okay, yeah, I'll classify that under square things, and square things go like that or whatever. Whereas if you have no language at all, then you just like learn the real essence.
You're forced to just see it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I look at like what I've learned, whether it's like digital marketing or FBA, and I think that it's just like once you know about it, and I'm using business as an example, but once you like in the beginning, it's so scary just because it seems like a different language in a way. Like to learn something new, the first experience, it feels like you're like looking at a bunch of Chinese.
Yeah. I think with most things you're learning, I mean, with business examples, there's like a whole lexicon of, acronyms that people throw around, and people love lingo, especially in business, I think.
Yeah.
And I think that stuff makes it more overwhelming, like you're saying.
Yeah, and you don't know who to trust either, because a lot of the people that are like, yeah, listen to me, I know all the secrets, and you'll make $1 million in the next 36 days. It's like, what the fuck? Like, you probably don't. And that is a very extreme and kind of gross example, but it happens a lot in a lot of smaller ways, because really, like, if you're trying to learn something new, a lot of times, like, the system or whatever you're trying to learn will have this like unspoken system of like making it harder to learn about, because the people inside of it want to keep their own roles.
I see what you're saying. Or that people are just bad at explaining things, and kind of they explain it the way that they heard it explained, and rather than kind of like breaking it apart. And I feel like that was something that was big for me with, teaching FBA was, I feel like I just came up with my whole own way of thinking about it, because I didn't like any of the, like everyone, I mean, not to shit on everyone else or speak so highly of myself, but like, pretty much 99% of the people out there, it's like they're all just rehashing the same exact criteria and the same exact phrases and systems and all of this stuff. And rather than that, I just kind of tried to break it down to like, how would I explain this to somebody that has no idea what I'm talking about from the absolute bare bones, and build them up.
Yeah. I mean, that's why we connected, because I saw your videos and I noticed that. But I think that you're right, and it's a matter of like not making what I think a YouTube video should look like, but it's just like, how do I explain it from the ground level, as opposed to sort of an imitation level, if that makes sense.
Imitation is the key word, I think, because it's so much easier to just like look at something that was already done and just recreate it in your own box, rather than to just kind of break it down to the scraps and like recreate a language around it.
it's like smoke and mirrors kind of. It's like on the first, it's like that, or like the game Telephone. It's like on the first invitation, you more or less get it, and someone can more or less get the first message. But then as time goes on, then the message gets more and more obscured.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it gets more and more obscured, but sometimes the people get more and more confident about the message.
Right, because then they've heard it in 100 different places, and you know, not to stay on the FBA topic too long, but that's exactly what's happening. Is like, you know, once 10 different people talk about how many reviews should be on page 1, then everyone just accepts that as like the absolute
gospel.
I was literally going to say the gospel, and then, you know, nobody thinks about it in any other framework.
These short-term strategies, because you actually can make money imitating. But
you definitely
you
can.
cap your ceiling, because eventually you're gonna think of it as a path, and if you only go on the path that someone else has blazed, then we
only go on blazed paths. No, like, you know, clean. No, like wide open paths.
No, we didn't blaze the path. It was already there. We were blazing on the path. No, misunderstanding. But jokes aside, if you basically go on a path that's already been cut off and the grass has been mowed and it's all pretty, that's great and it's much easier. But then what do you do when you get to the end of the path and you've passed everyone else, is the issue. So I think it's like, it's not as much about, I don't know, I think it's just about learning how to think and learning how to take concepts that seem unfamiliar and just like look at them, kind of like the Alan Watts thing. It's like, you don't have a word for it, just look at it, just notice it.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Because that way you really see what it is. And I think I enjoy like the process of repackaging things in ways that make sense more, because so much of everything is just, I think it is rehashed. Like even I experienced the same thing with YouTube, and you know, like there could be 100 videos on the same topic, and you can just tell that 98 of them made their video by watching 2 of them and just recreating it basically, rather than just, you know what, I'm going to just think about this topic from the purest form and just create what I feel is the right thing to say.
It's hard, and like it's so easy to slip into, I think, especially as we get older and we have more of these tools to like succeed at something. It's like easy to like take some of those shortcuts, and like, damn, like some shortcuts are worth taking.
Wait, you would say that older people take the shortcuts?
Maybe both. I don't know.
That's interesting, because I feel like my impression would be that younger people take the shortcuts.
I guess my implication is that I think I just see like the arc of my life, and I know that as I get older, I'm going to have like, I'll still have energy, but I just think that like your energy levels cannot stay the same.
I see what you're saying. I think you're also more patient though, and you're like less blissfully ignorant about the fact that it's going to take some novelty to create something interesting rather than just copying for the short term.
Yeah, it's like,
I mean, I see it both ways. I'm not disagreeing.
Yeah, I guess it's like, it's this paradox. It's like it's comfortable to follow the pack, and the pack by definition almost is like onto something, but it's just like if everyone's following that, then it's going to be hard to like extract, like you're almost like fighting over a fixed pie that everyone's going after, but a lot of times there'll be just like a gigantic pie off to the side.
A better pie.
Yeah.
A gluten-free, dairy-free. Pumpkin pie.
Gluten-free, dairy-free, pumpkin pie.
And everyone's over there eating like the fucking Safeway Vaughn's like chocolate pie from 3 weeks ago.
Yeah. Expiration date was 2 days ago, so it's still kind of fine.
Right
but
next
it's like
to the 20%
sushi off. Yeah.
Yo,
one of my realizations coming to the West Coast from Maryland, the sushi is so much better. Like 5 times better. Like,
really? Like
the sushi on the East Coast, I'm sure there's some good places. I haven't gone to like major like city sushi places, but I just still think the sushi on the West Coast is so much better.
Dude, have we gone to Rice right down the street with you? Did we go there with you?
No, we haven't.
Maybe we could do that later. We'll see. Okay. But there's a place like right down the street that's like really good. But
yeah. But anyway, I don't want to like divert the podcast to sushi for too long.
I don't know, man. I'm sure there's some really. Did you ever see last thing on the sushi? Did you ever see Hero Dreams of Sushi on Netflix, like the documentary?
I haven't.
Incredible documentary. You should. I would highly suggest that you watch it.
I will.
It's it's somebody that puts an immense level of attention into their craft.
That's the impression that I get.
Yeah. So I think that you can. It's one of those things that it's not about sushi, right? Like, you're not going to walk out of that documentary knowing 3 different ways to make sushi. You're going to see somebody that tapped into their potential. Yeah, it was good. I mean, I saw it years ago and still remember it a little bit. So must have been decent.
Yeah,
but,
for sure.
Yeah.
So, how's it been going?
It's been going good.
Yeah. I guess last time we talked, you were sort of like, yeah, I'm still not exactly sure. And like, I'm doing a few things that I'm more interested in. I'm just trying to like what's next?
Mm-hmm. I still feel like that to some extent, but I've been feeling better just very recently for sure. Like, I've been more productive in the last couple of weeks, which feels really good.
I can even tell from your energy, by the way, but go on.
Really? That's cool to hear.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
What am I doing differently?
It's hard for me to actually put
no.
words or a finger on it, but I can just I don't know, maybe this hint of optimistic energy. I don't know.
That's interesting to hear. Yeah. I mean, I think I've been, up and down. I've definitely had, times where I've been very optimistic over the last year, but I've had times where I've been just like, oh, like, what am I doing? I actually made my video that went up today has to do with burnout. And I think I talked about this in the video, and I mean, I was pretty burned out for a solid year plus. And I think it's just that, I wasn't doing enough for me. And now I'm doing I have several new things that I'm pumped about, excited about. One is just on YouTube itself. I've been making these more creative videos, more thoughtful videos, just stuff that I want to make. And it's also a bummer, and that's kind of bums me out in the same sense that it's exciting me, is because they're nothing has happened with it, I mean, the people that are seeing it, they really like it, but it hasn't, YouTube hasn't put those videos in front of any new people.
Right.
And they're getting less views than if I make Amazon FBA is dead. But I feel very good about him. And so it's kind of this very bipolar cycle that I'm in right now, because when I'm making the video, I'm like, dude, I feel so good about this. But then I put it out there and I'm kind of just it crickets a little bit, which feels kind of sucky, but it's not that bad.
Dude, it's good to decouple yourself from the motivation for all of the views, because damn, it's a fucking drug, views and optimizing for that.
It is.
And I think that just with time you get used to the crickets, because what's going to happen is that some of them get crickets and then some of them will inevitably explode, because the reason that you're excited about it is actually the reason that other people are going to get excited about it. And it's just I found that if you're really excited about an article or a video or something, then there's probably something for it. And packaging, how you package something has a lot of impact. And sometimes things just get packaged in a way that there's crickets. But I think that over time, if you're developing these skills, then it's eventually you just become so good they can't ignore you.
I feel like I've really, really improved the quality of it, and packaging in the YouTube context would be title and thumbnail, I would say. And lately I've been going for these. I mean, we don't have to get too into the details or anything, but I've been really, really happy with the level of content. I know, I'm very confident that if YouTube actually just lit that spark, that they would catch fire. It's just, so that's why it's kind of a bummer, is because I really think the quality of content is there lately. I've put a lot, I've really improved my videos.
Yeah. But just realize that I guess my take on it, and I know it can be a bummer, but my take on it, at least just hearing you talk, is no, there's this really dry wood in the middle of the fire pit, and you keep striking flint together and sparks are flying everywhere and the wood keeps getting drier and drier. To me, it just seems like a matter of time.
It seems like a matter of time, and then sometimes I get
like
just
you know
worried.
what's cool? Also, like it's almost a blessing that they haven't caught on because it forces you to think of all these ways to make them better. Like if it had really caught on, you might be thinking like, all right, like I'm just gonna keep doing this, which like there's always ways to make it better.
That's true, but yeah. Last thing on this topic is it's just it can just be like really frustrating because I mean I've been on that grind for well over a year with it not happening. So part of my mind is like, what if it never happens?
Right.
And I'm happy just, keeping it going with the slow growth. And they're getting really good feedback on these videos, which is great. But that's what's weird is it's like, well, if they're getting such good feedback, why has YouTube not pushed it out into new people? And then I see these other channels just constantly getting what I'm hoping for. And then they get to a place where the channel is kind of like in YouTube's spotlight. And then they can actually make less videos and it still does really like if I went through a streak over about a month ago of 3 videos a week for like 5 or 6 weeks straight. And 3 videos a week is a lot of work.
Yeah.
Especially like 3 thoughtful, impactful videos. I mean, these are not just like, webcam hit record for 5 minutes type of videos. I mean, these were like, creative videos. And I see channels that blow up and then they just go down to like 1 video a week, 1 video every couple weeks, and their channels are just still like on fire. It's like it gets into this different. It's like Amazon. It's like the flywheel. It's like they get on the first page. It's like they get, they just get this momentum. And like right now, it's just like I just throw something and it just like dribbles off a cliff. It's weird, but not to complain on it. I'm really enjoying. Like I said, this is one of the things I'm excited about right now. I'm really excited about like my new style of videos, like my new just aesthetic, my new kind of way of crafting a video. I've just really felt good about it. And other things I'm excited about that are new and coming. Well, a few actually. Let me know if this gets boring to just talk about my shit for too long. But,
no, I'm interested.
But so one thing I've been having a lot of fun with that I don't think I've mentioned to you, and I'm curious of your ideas, is I started this like passion project Instagram account.
I saw something about it, but I know nothing. Go on.
Okay, so it's Porsche related cars, and so to keep this short for anyone who's just like rolling their eyes, and probably you as well. There's this area of Porsches. There's this like special thing called paint to sample, and when you order a car brand new through Porsche, you can pay an exorbitant fee, and if you get approved, you can order off of this list of special colors, like out of the standard colors. It's like if you go to buy, like a Toyota, there's like, 6 colors you can choose from or whatever. If you go to buy a Porsche, there's like 10 colors you can choose from. If you get approved for paint to sample, there's like 250 colors you can choose from, and you can even pay double that fee to submit a new color for like approval process. So there's all these like rare colors, and there's these people like me that absolutely nerd out about these colors because some of them are based on classic colors that they did in the 60s or something, or these colors from other brands. Like they get all these colors approved, and it's this like emerging thing right now. People are fanatics about this, and that's how I got sucked into it. I mean, it's like a real thing, right? It's not just me, I promise. There's others of us. So let me get to the point. There was nowhere to look at these cars for sale. There's like an Instagram account with over 100,000 followers for just pretty pictures of these cars, but you can't go to like autotrader.com and sort by paint to sample. You can sort by like Porsche 911 GT3, but you can't find paint to sample. And I just thought of that one day, and I was like, damn, like I want to just look at these, and there's nowhere to do it. So it was like a scratching my own itch thing. So I started this Instagram account called PTS for sale, and I'm just constantly looking around all the different websites, finding the PTS, the paint to sample listings, and compiling them in one place. And people, these other fanatics like me, are obsessed because in 2 months it has over 5,000 followers.
Damn.
Yeah. So it's like really has momentum, and it really is a lot of fun because I'm just like nerding out about it and like, posting them constantly, searching them constantly, and it just caught fire. I've never seen that kind of engagement, this kind of traction on Instagram before. Yeah.
Yeah, that is cool, and it's an example of like if you find the right thing, then it just blows up by itself.
Exactly. See, like I think if I had just made another paint to sample Instagram account, I would have like 47 followers right now. But because I tapped into something that like didn't exist, and like every day I get messages like, this is such a good idea. I love what you're doing. Like, oh my God, this is like my favorite Instagram account. This is like genius. And I was like, dude, like this was just something I wanted because it didn't exist.
So there's already paint to sample Instagram accounts.
Yes, but not tracking ones that are for sale. They're just showing, here's a 2016, whatever car, and just like showing pictures. It's just like pictures. Whereas I'm showing ones that are currently available and the prices and what dealer they're at and where they're located, and like constantly posting new listings.
Dude, maybe you could make some money.
Well,
off
no,
being a
that's what I
matchmaker,
want to get into. That's what I want to lead this conversation into right now, is because I have a lot of ideas for that. And I've already had people tell me that they would give me like finder's fees if somebody buys it through finding it
Oh
on
my God,
post.
dude. It sounds so like such an obvious monetization. Yeah.
Dude, and we're talking about expensive cars. Dude, one car that I listed that the guy was saying like, if this sells, we can work something out. 1.4 million euros. Can you imagine if that was the first sale I made? He's like, yeah, let me send you your commission. You helped sell the 918 Spider for 1.4 million.
Yeah.
That'd be insane. But I mean, most of these cars are $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 that I'm posting.
Yeah, charge like what, 10%, 15% commission? Like that seems pretty normal.
Well, that would definitely be high in the car industry, but because that's probably only what the dealers are making, to be honest. But I mean, they would give probably I think, if you sell a $200,000 car to get, a 1% commission or something is fairly reasonable. Or there's these few sites out there like Bring a Trailer and P-Car Market. They're like auction sites for cars, and those guys take 5%, and they kind of act as a listing platform, almost like an eBay for cars, and then they take 5% at the end from the buyer side. But I could do something like that.
If you think about it, like the dealer's highest problem is finding the people.
Yeah.
Like I think that
dude, and I have the people that want these cars. Like it's so targeted.
I don't see any like I don't know. On first instinct, and you know more about this than me, but on first instinct, it seems like you're kind of lowballing it. Like why? I guess my question is, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the dealer. So here's the thing: if you're like, all right, like, give me 25% of what you make. So if the dealer makes, what do you think they make? 15%, 10?
I mean, it varies a lot, but I mean, on a lot of these cars, I think they're making like maybe 10 grand. 10.
Okay, so let's say they make 10%.
And by the way, I don't really know. I'm not like in that market. I'm not a dealer. I don't know.
If they make 10%, like, would they give you half for referring a lot of people? Like maybe you don't start it out like that just to get your foot in the door.
It's low one little is it, like wrench in the thing, whatever the phrase is, but this is a low volume thing. I mean, we're talking about very particular cars. Right. It's not like these dealers get them all the time. They're not like abundant. Like for example, there's probably a couple hundred PTS cars for sale in the world right now. Like it's not like every dealer has like 10 of them a month. It's like, most dealers have 0 of them, and a dealer might get one every once in a while. So I'd have to create these like individual relationships with dealers. It's complicated.
Dude, I mean, you wouldn't have to. All you could say is like, as long as you could just post the car and the price.
That's what I'm doing. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then if someone messages you, you can reach out to the dealer.
That's basically what I'm doing. As of now, I'm like posting the dealer, but one idea was like, to like keep the contact details private.
Yeah.
And like I said, I've had probably 5 private parties or dealers already like directly say, I'll give you a finder's fee if you find a buyer.
Because they want to.
Right. Yeah. And I'm sure they're thinking, minimum like $500. I mean, at least, probably more. But yeah, I mean, I could see this turning into something, and it's just a blast. Like and dude, like I had days where it grew organically by 250 followers in a day.
Damn.
Organically, I haven't put $1 into this thing.
Damn.
And
dude.
It has 5,500 followers in a little over 2 months.
That's exciting.
Yeah, like this shit's gonna get to 100K. Like it's crazy.
Wow.
I think it'll be at 10K in like another like 5-6 weeks probably or something. Assuming it kind of keeps up the current pace.
Damn, dude.
But that's something I'm having a lot of fun with, and I see a lot of ways to turn that into a business. We can talk other ways, like we don't have to get into it.
Yeah.
But I have a lot of ideas for it, and it's just like a blast, something that's fun for me because I'm obsessed with this paint to sample thing right now. Like I was looking them up all the time anyways, and now I'm just like compiling listings on this Instagram account. And one last thing. my original idea for this was like, what if there's a website that you could like sort, kind of like an auto trader, like where I could go on and like, I could sort by a particular color or by a particular model and all of that. And that was the original idea. And I was like, well, what if the, kind of like the kind of MVP was just an Instagram account? And literally that day I made the Instagram account and I just started doing it. Like, it was just one of these really quick little things. I was just like, that's a good idea. Let me just do it. I didn't think about it very much. Yeah.
Yeah, that's how it starts.
And it took off.
It's like, I might have told you this before, but my bar for whether I'm going to do an idea or not is whether I end up doing it.
Can you explain that?
Yeah, it's like, I don't like choose to do ideas. It's just like, if I really want to do it, then I'm just going to do it. And I think that that's like a good bar to have. And that's that's what you did.
You mean like the good enough ones you're just going to do without
making yourself do it.
Right. Yeah. This one I was just like, let me just try it.
Like I want to see what happens.
Yeah. I could have thought about this for 3 months. Like, is it a good idea? I'm not sure it's a good idea. Like, how am I going to monetize it? I could have thought of all these things, but instead I was just like, let me just try it. And dude, like it's just, I've never seen that kind of traction. I mean, it's growing really fast. It's really fun. That's probably enough on that, but I'm really excited about that. And I think that'd be a blast if that turns into like a 6-figure income selling rare Porsches. That's like literally what I'm so obsessed with right now. The next thing also related to cars is I'm starting a car parts brand with a friend. So I'm really excited about that. Like engineering some actual parts and stuff and really more involved ideas. So it won't be an Amazon play, but making interesting stuff mostly for Porsches, of course. But, that's very soon. I won't mention the specifics here, but I actually like have like samples. I mean, it's like, It's happening. It's really close. Like manufacturing, metal legit parts and stuff like that.
That's
cool
powerful
stuff. Yeah. And high price points, high margins. Like it's going to be really exciting to get into a market like that where nobody knows how to market these products. So we're going against people that just throw it up on the internet. And there's just so many angles to do it better. It's insane. Like, it's not like Amazon where you have to be so much better than what's already good. This is like, competing with just these broken ass websites and like no customer service and no instructions included.
There's still so much room for Shopify brands.
Yeah. Yeah. So this will be on Shopify. We'll advertise through these communities are small, so it's kind of going to be more of like the way to win in these communities is still word of mouth, like forums and Facebook groups, because there's not a lot of people that own these particular cars. Mm-hmm. But I'm sure we'll do some like, Facebook or Instagram or YouTube ads as well, and, target as specifically as we can. But that's coming probably. I mean, assuming everything goes smoothly, should have our first inventory like within a month from now.
Yeah. And it sounds like this was also something that was relatively easy to start up.
It was. Yeah. We were just like, so I don't want to get too specific yet, but like it was basically a part that I was buying anyways for my car. Mm-hmm. And I was just like, this is too expensive. And it took 8 weeks for them to send it to me because they didn't keep it in stock. And there were no instructions in the box. And I'm just like, interesting. Yeah. And I'm friends with a lot of mechanical engineers who are also into these cars. And I was just like, we could just very easily make this and sell it for less, keep it in stock, make it a little bit better, shoot beautiful video instruction guides and all this type of stuff, market it better, actually do all the stuff that they should be doing. And yeah.
Yeah. I had an idea. Actually for a while, but I want to get your feedback. I was just like, I can't believe it doesn't exist, because I want it so badly. We've been over this, but basically the benefit of a Kindle, for me at least, is the fact that it's an e-ink screen. It's not shiny. You just read on it, and I'm like, that's so great. Like, I don't have fucking like notifications and Instagram and like random text messages like popping up when I'm reading. Like, I can't swipe down and see my notifications. Like, I can't swipe up and go to literally any app and like order food or this or that. Like, of course a phone's distracting, but why isn't that for writing? Like, I want to start writing more, and I've been trying And I'm still like I'm writing more, and it's gonna happen either way. But why is there not a Kindle for writing?
Yeah, like a device that yeah, I mean, we talked about this before, and I
Okay.
like the idea. I think, and this is not me. This is what people might say. One is I think a lot of people that write, they kind of use those apps that like turn off the internet, and they limit them to which apps they're allowed to use as they're writing, and they
But
still
you know
do it on
those apps, you can just disable the app.
right. Yeah, that's true. That is true.
It's
but
like
I mean,
putting
if
your
you're
hands
holding
in
this
handcuffs
device,
and
but
holding the key in
yeah.
your hand.
True. Though you can have a Kindle and still pick up your phone. You know, like your phone is not locked because of the fact you have a Kindle, but there is this like switching that I think you're limiting, which is...
Yeah, I don't buy it. You can put
Yeah.
your phone in the other room. You can just put it under the table. Like, you figure it out.
But you got to get people to do that. The other thing would be, you know, maybe that some people just write on notebooks with pens.
Yeah.
You're basically talking about an electronic notebook.
An electronic
Typing
type
notebook.
book. Yeah.
Type book. It's a good idea. I mean...
And I posted this on Reddit Entrepreneur the other day just because I had to write it up because it
This
frustrates
idea?
me. Yeah. And it got like probably like 15 comments, including half mine.
That's all comments. So yeah, 50 comments, you know, 25 replies, 25 comments.
Yeah. Exactly. It's interesting what people say. They're like, oh yeah, this already exists. You're looking for a free write. And I look up this product, free write, and it's just this product that like looks not fun to use. Like it their first
I'm gonna
version.
look up a picture as you explain this.
Please do it. There's two versions. So the first version, like, it doesn't fold open like a laptop. It's like there's like this tiny screen and a keyboard.
Okay.
The second version, it does fold like a laptop, and they're taking pre-orders. It should be available soon. But it's like, imagine a laptop, but like twice as rectangular. So the short side on a laptop is twice as short. And what you do with that is,
These ones?
yeah. So like this one is their first version, and then this one is their second version.
That's the new one coming out.
That's the new one, and
Okay.
that one folds, and that one looks better.
So I'll chime in.
Yeah.
These look like the Etch-a-Sketch of typing. I don't know. Like I understand that this is not what you're going for. This is like but it's kind of like utilitarian. It looks like, okay, what this looks like to me is some kind of cash register or something, right?
Yeah.
Like with a big blocky keys and like, you know, big buttons and clunky kind of thick. Like I feel like you were talking about something. I was picturing something more Kindle-like more.
I want
slim.
literally a Kindle with a bit bigger screen that folds open. And what does the keyboard look like? It looks exactly like the Kindle, but in keyboard form. Like, how would a Kindle design a keyboard? That's how I want it to look.
But physical buttons.
Exactly, physical buttons.
Right. Okay. So yeah, I'm picturing
Very minimal.
Yeah, kind of minimal, like
Thin.
you know, matte black, like probably.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, this is like a typewriter type of thing. Like this is.
Yeah.
But
That's something that we
okay.
have the technology to design it better, but it's seemingly like nostalgic just for its own sake.
Right. I think they're kind of tapping into the
Like the hipster market.
like the typewriter, like the people that would buy like a sewing machine, you know.
The sewing market.
Yeah.
All right. The Venn diagram overlap between sewing and writers.
Yeah. So Facebook targeting. All right. Likes typewriters and sewing machines and you know, raw denim overalls.
Facebook would be like, all right, got it. Yeah. There's 300,000 people.
No. Facebook would like dial it down. It's like, did you mean like these people over here?
Yeah. It's like, would you like people that just bought their denim overalls in the last 10 days? We can do it.
Do you want people that wear glasses with no prescriptions, or
Would you like people that had 3 conversations about denim overalls in their car within the last week?
yeah, people who have had not recorded conversations about
Redheads, blue eyes. What do you want?
Yeah, it's creepy, dude.
It is. Yeah, this could be an interesting segue to our social media conversations.
It could, yeah. That was one thing on my list was that post that I sent to you that I wrote. And segueing into
Yeah, that really got me thinking.
Yeah, that one. That's probably like I've really been enjoying writing. Speaking of writing,
Do you think we should read it just if anyone's listening?
Sure.
It would probably give them context.
sure, I'll just read it.
Yeah.
We can just talk as I'm
I know
pulling it
it'll
up,
refresh
so
me.
we don't have to do any complicated edits.
Yeah.
But I should be able to find it. Just a quick.
Yeah.
Okay, here it's right here. So-
Also, like I just as a note, like I don't think people mind like oh, we're looking something out, we're finding it. Like honestly, if I was listening to a podcast, I would rather just like listen to a few seconds of that and
Yeah.
like wait for it. Like it just feels
You're
good
right.
to know that you're not missing anything.
You're right. And that's why even the last episode of this podcast, I didn't cut it at all. Like for a while I was, if we would pause for 5 seconds, I'd be like, oh, let me shorten that to 2 seconds or something like that. But the last one I was just like, like if somebody stops listening because of that, like, I don't know.
Exactly.
Whatever. Okay, here's the post. Most of what you see was designed to distract you. Lately, I've been on Instagram way more than usual, mainly because of a side project account I made that has a lot of traction. That's the PTS account we were just talking about. But there's something strange about why I'm checking it so much. The account is very active, so my notifications tab is constantly flooded with new likes, comments, and follows. And because they fill up so fast, I have to check or I'll miss them because it cuts off after just 500 or 100 new actions or so. You can't filter it to not show likes and only comments, for example. And it's not just an endless scroll. After that cutoff, you just don't know what happens, what you would have missed. So I can very easily miss important comments in a sea of likes. Why in the world would it be like that? Clearly, they could easily code something better, but it's by design. It keeps me checking. It's FOMO in coded form. They're trading an elegant and refined product for an addictive one. They're optimizing for something that is not optimized for you, but for them. But what do they want? You're probably thinking ad dollars, and you'd be mostly right. But I think it goes deeper. Why keep people distracted? Why keep people lulled into a constant state of delusion disguised as entertainment? If you're perpetually distracted, you're not going to do things outside the box. You're going to stay in line with everyone else. You're in control, not in control of yourself, but being controlled. You're less dangerous. Just consume, consume, consume. Here's some shit to buy that you don't need. Here's a new show you can binge watch for 45 hours, and it gets scarier. It's not that they know what best distracts people. They know what best distracts you because you fed their algorithms. You gave them this data. All of your past actions and time spent create a perfect picture of what perfectly engages you. How far away are we until our feeds aren't real? It's entirely possible that Facebook could create fake AI feeds flawlessly crafted to endlessly entertain you. Whatever sucks you in the most times 1,000. A caricature of what has already best distracted you. We're already halfway there. Some real, some fake, but you're being fed what you've proven you will eat, and at just the right times. You're easily distracted by political arguments. Facebook sees you spent 3 hours debating someone. So here's 500 artificial arguments for you, your favorite flavor. Be careful of whatever's winning your attention because it was designed to distract you. Thoughts?
It's this machine that shows you shit from the internet and adapts to whatever you like the most. I mean, this is just what you said, but it just like it shows you what you want to see, and if you don't want to see it, they're like, all right, wait, we'll change.
Right.
And then it does change. It's like, okay, I like it a little bit more now. They're like, wait, we can do better. And it's like, oh my God, like I can't stop scrolling for this. It's adapted perfectly for me, and it does that for 1 billion people, 2 billion people.
Yeah. And then you imagine, like, the part I really liked of that was the sort of the caricature part. Like, what if they know your recipe so well that it could be made up? I mean, it's possible to create a fake feed that would just endlessly, like, let's say like right now they have a real feed that they cater to you, and let's say it'll occupy you for 3 hours a day. Like, what if they just figured out how to turn up the volume on that and really suck you in, like, to the next level? It seems possible if they know so well what is keeping people in this state of constant entertainment.
And I think that the reason my friend Seth brings up a good point. He's like, Google tracks like much more information than Facebook, and like Zuckerberg's at these hearings. Who complains about Google? And like people do, but somehow Facebook has become the face of this. And I think that a lot of the reason is taking away Google, but just Facebook specifically, it's a subtly manipulative company. Like, not to cast them as evil, because as we've talked about before, like, everyone thinks they're doing good. Like, shit, Zuckerberg founded this when he was, 19 years old? Like, I don't blame anyone, but I think that a lot of the ways that it's designed is kind of manipulative. Like, I've had things like, what? Like, this just automatically, someone uploads a picture of me, and then all of my friends see it before I even get to choose whether all my friends see it. And then I set up a setting to, like, prevent that, but it's just like...
But it doesn't work. The settings don't work. I mean, so here's my biggest pet peeve. Well, no, I have like I take that back. Not my biggest, because there's like a billion. If you update your profile picture on Facebook, it shows everybody. And it shows in the feed, like, people start commenting on it, people start liking it. If you delete the post in your feed, it deletes your profile picture. It doesn't make any sense.
Are you sure about that?
I'm positive. I've done it so many times.
This is a personal profile, because I've done it for a business page.
Pretty sure I've tried it on both.
Damn.
For sure on business pages. For sure.
Interesting.
And I think both. I'm pretty sure on both, actually, because I think I tried it the last time I updated my personal one, and then I'm like, that's the last fucking time I do that shit.
Yeah.
But dude, there was one comment on that. Actually, let me just read it as well. There was one comment that blew my mind. And I was like, you know what? Like, I've had similar experiences to this a million times, and never even me, the one that wrote this post, I never thought about this. Let me think about this, because there were a lot of comments. Or no, this one didn't have a ton of comments, so I might be able to find. Oh yeah, right here. This is John Miller. What gets me is how nuanced the testing and tweaking is. Lately, every time I come across a new glitch, in quotes, with social media apps, I find myself wondering, okay, was that even really a glitch, or is that Facebook or Insta's AI getting creative? Example, on desktop, if I watch a Facebook video within my newsfeed without clicking on it, it will eventually subtly move, just enough that I am forced to either scroll to reposition or just go ahead and click through. This has the twofold benefit of both showing that I am really watching and also potentially luring me into endless video mode if I click through. This has been a consistent glitch for quite a long time now. Example 2, various and widespread notification issues. If I clear my phone notification bar, the Facebook ones will often immediately reappear the first time. Also, within the FB app itself, my notification count has a habit of recounting old notifications that have already been viewed.
Yeah.
Et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Maybe I'm reading into it too much. Maybe I'm too paranoid. That I have experienced a lot.
It's hard to get rid of them.
Yeah, it is hard to get rid of them. Dude, I find, since I read that comment, I've realized, like, I spend probably 10 minutes every day, like, looking at a notification and then going back to something else and then being like, fuck, the notification is still showing. So I click on it again. I try to refresh it. Like, I'm like constantly trying to clear the notifications.
Mark as read. Like,
yeah. And like, it happens with Instagram. To bring it back to that account that I was referring to, which is what that post is about, is I'm getting tagged in posts. And I find every time you get tagged in a post on Instagram, once you view that post, it does not, like, that little 1 or 2 or whatever, that it never shows. It never goes away the first time.
Yeah,
never.
Same with
for
mine.
Tagged photos.
This just happened. I don't get tagged that much. It happens.
Yeah, no, but that happens 100% of the time. That's weird.
Yeah,
but
I
what
can
he
show you right now. Yeah.
Yeah, and what he said, mine probably has it too right now. And what he said about like the video, like, moving. Did you get what he meant by that? Like as if it was, like, scrolling slightly to,
it
like,
scrolls on its own a bit.
Yeah,
and then
like,
it's,
it kind of
off the page.
Right,
and
like
it gets you all OCD about it.
Yeah, and then it's like, I have to fix that, and it's like, that's maybe not a glitch. That's their way of, like, well, did you leave your computer open as you went to the bathroom, or are you very, very engaged? And can we get you to, like, get frustrated at this glitch enough to just click on the video player to open to where you're in, like, the video mode where they can show you ads and all of that.
It seems like they're just, like, endlessly optimizing for what's measurable.
Yeah, but that's like that's evil. I mean, that's one that people wouldn't think about, because we kind of just assume that these companies are trying to make their products good, but they could be coding glitches intentionally if they find it kind of creates a weird little quirk in the way that you react to it, because there's this glitch, and then we find that people kind of like get distracted by this glitch, and then they try to fix it, and then they like go, it's weird. And you know what else it could be? It could be almost like an AI optimization that's like the AI thinks it's doing a good job, and it's actually not. It's like, wow, we find people check their notifications more if it's broken. You know what I mean? Like, maybe it's just like a smart but not quite smart enough AI. You see what I'm getting at there?
Yeah, man. It's like all of my interactions with Facebook, whether it's like as a user, as an advertiser, like somehow it's hard to put your finger on what it is, but somehow you just intuitively know that they give zero fucks about you. Like they don't, you just feel it.
Do any of the platforms give a fuck, in your opinion?
I would say some, and some more than others. But in terms of just Facebook, like even like read receipts, like that feature is just like a little bit dodgy in itself. Like the fact that you can't opt out of it.
In Messenger? Yeah. They don't let you opt out, huh? It's not like iMessage.
Yeah, it's like that's my business if people know if I read their message or not.
Yeah, they take a lot of liberties and just like doing shit, or like when a feature changes or a redesign, like say when that comes out, there's no kind of opt-in, there's no it's a
matter of respect. I saw on one company's website they have a change log where it might be Twilio or something, and it might not be, but they have like a change log of every single change, and you know what changed and what's different, and it's just like
they should be maybe required to publish that or something.
Yeah. I think social media is such a fucking like egotistical and narcissistic like mess nowadays that it's just like it could be so much better. Like the fact that everyone's talking and there's numbers next to everyone's comment. Everyone's comment gets a number.
Yeah.
Telling how good it is, and it's
and
public.
This one has angry faces on it.
Yeah, and they let you react angry and show everyone. Like it's like so anxiety inducing.
Rage.
It's like I want to comment. I want people to like it. Like,
yeah. It's interesting too, though.
Like, sorry, say a sentence.
No, yours is more on topic. I was.
What if? All right, so after that sentence, be like, I like that sentence. Would you like me saying that I like it?
Wait. You just mean that if I like a lot, it's not natural, is what you're saying.
I like that. Yeah.
That makes me
like
so
that.
uncomfortable.
No, actually,
this is the most uncomfortable I've ever felt. Like the fact that you did that, like I literally felt like physically uncomfortable. Like that was so weird.
What the like
I was like, what are you? I don't quite like. I was like, wait, are we like, what are we doing here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even like scrolling through Twitter, like I'll go through a reply section, and the entire reply section, everything has a fucking number next to it. Like, it's just like, it's not healthy.
Yeah, it's weird. But then we have to wonder too, is this has become the narrative now is what you're saying, is that it's unhealthy. And then it makes me just wonder, it's like, are we, because this could be almost extrapolated into any sort of, not conspiracy, but just weird thing is, that narrative that me and you are even repeating right now, are we really victims to that? Or are we just repeating it and feeling like everybody else is? But we're not, we're not using social media in that vain way. Are we?
Well, we're not immune to it.
We're not immune to it, but like we're not the people we're really talking about either. We're like kind of creating this image in our head of like, the person that's just like, trying to get, 100 likes on their selfie on Instagram.
I think we are the people that we're talking about. Like, I mean, when I tweet, when I post stuff, like, it feels great when there's likes on it.
Yeah, no, that's, I'm not immune to it either, but I just still wonder. It's like that has become such the common narrative that it almost makes me question like where that's coming from. You know what I mean? Like, is that the agenda? Is the agenda right now like the anti social media, or like, I don't know. It's just,
I think people are addicted to likes.
I think so too. I think so too, for sure. But again, though,
I think that bashing social media is almost like a cry for help. Like people, like everyone feels the shallowness of it. Even, dude, I'm telling you, man, even like people like that get tons of likes and like, I don't know, like I'm sure they like it in a way, but it's the platform itself makes it hard to be like deeply, deeply fulfilling.
yeah. I mean, at any level, you just start looking at the next level. Probably.
I was reading
the next numbers.
Yeah, actually, like I picked up Alan Watts the last couple of days and was reading some random chapters, and I was just thinking, like, what if every paragraph people got to comment in real time?
Oh my god!
Like,
Dude.
Part of the magic is that he just got to write this book, and he was like, look, I'm just gonna spend a while writing out my thoughts, and like I'm gonna release it, and like the word will get back to me, but it's not a matter of
Right.
like writing feedback.
Well, how do you feel about the Kindle feature where it shows you what was the most highlighted?
Oh yeah, I turned that off.
You turned it off?
Yeah.
I need to turn it off because when I get to those parts, I feel like my eyes like immediately go to it. Like if it's at the bottom of the page, I'm like, well, I have to just skim through
yeah.
and read that part because clearly that's the good
I think
part.
I turned that off the day I got the Kindle.
I got to turn that off.
For sure. Even like when I'm rereading a book and I get to the part that I've highlighted before, sometimes I'll just like at the beginning of the page, I'll just like unhighlight it so I get rid of the distraction.
That's interesting. Yeah. I thought of a better way to articulate the social media thing from that I was struggling with a minute or two ago. And it was there was another comment on that post that said something about like the person commented, they said narcissism is bad, and I was like confused. And then they were saying like isn't this what you're trying to say on the post, is that everyone is so kind of obsessed with the likes, kind of like the angle that you were saying, like the vanity and all of that. And the point that I kind of made in return was that, and kind of what I want to get into now, is that I think there's two sides to it, which is there's the people that are putting out posts and reacting to how many likes they get, but then there's this, and what I was talking about here was not that, it was the mindless consumption. Like maybe somebody that never posts, like maybe like I don't post much on my personal Instagram, but I mean I'll sometimes get sucked into just browsing, and sometimes I'll just be like, well, where'd the last 20 minutes go?
It's
so
like
I think
100 times less fulfilling than watching a dumb TV show.
Yeah, it's just dead time. It's just flushing it. And that's, I think, what I'm more intrigued by right now than like the whole like people like likes thing. I don't know. That just seems kind of, maybe it's just like, not that I disagree with it, but it almost seems like kind of obvious right now. Whereas like, where is this like hypnotic state coming from?
Hypnotic state.
That's what I want to talk about. Like the hypnosis, this rocking of the baby into this delusional state of just scrolling, and maybe they're not even liking or commenting, or maybe they're liking and commenting on other people's stuff, but they're not posting, so they're not looking for feedback on their own stuff, but they're just in this hamster wheel of eating. They're just eating it all up, and they don't even know where they are, and like there's just shit all over their apartment, and they're just like they're just crawling out of bed to scroll.
Yeah. So one thought that I had once was like, what's ADD or ADHD? It's just like jumping from one thought to another thought to another thought to another thought. Oh wait, sorry, Twitter. Like that's literally what
Twitter
it is.
Twitter is ADD by design, basically.
That's literally what it is. It's like, all right. So our product is we call it Twitter. Basically, you just jump from one thought to the next to the next to the next to the next. Like you can click a thought and then read one thought, and then the next, and then the next, and then the next about that thought.
And this perfectly ties into what we were saying earlier, though, is the ADD and the lack of attention the aging, or is it that we're being taught to have ADD? We are conditioned to have ADD. I have more ADD than I've ever had in my life. Like
everyone does.
Maybe a little less than like a year ago, because I'm like working on it, like actively trying to do things that are more mindful and stuff like that. But way more than I had as a kid. I mean, I could like sit there freaking painting something for like 9 hours. I mean, it was like endless focus. I feel. I mean, I could get sucked into anything. Whereas now it's hard to read. I mean, that sounds funny, but it's hard for me to read. Like, it's hard for me to read. Same. And not want to check my phone, or not even check just to do something else. Even if I'm not looking for the phone, it's just to keep my eyes on the Kindle or on the book and to go to the next page and to the next page and the next page. There's this burning desire to do something else.
The more I think about it, I think, and we talked about this, I think that social media is the new smoking. Like, I remember the first time I heard social media is the new smoking, and like naturally your mind is like, oh yeah, social media, are you literally inhaling tar into your lungs? Like, don't be over dramatic. But I think it is, because what's the most valuable resource anyone has? It's your attention.
Yeah.
Where you put your attention, that's where everything else comes from. That's where money comes from. That's where food comes from. Like, everything comes from
it's your
attention.
life. Like, your life is your attention. Like, your subjective experience of living is all you really have. And if you're not being intentional what your attention is given to, then you're basically just rolling down a hill.
Yeah. That's good. Yeah, and like our phones basically are like 24/7 sidekicks.
Yeah.
Are just programmed by these companies to take our attention, and not necessarily, they don't really give a shit about what they give to us. They just want to take our attention.
Yeah.
Because they're not trying to give to their users other than trying to get their attention and like keep them occupied, because they make money from advertisers, so they want to give advertisers a customer.
It's their business model.
Yeah.
But how do you feel about even taking it a step deeper, like in that post, and thinking about almost the conspiratorial outlook on it?
Oh, well, yeah, I guess I would just have a question, like, well, why does Facebook give a shit if people are less dangerous, like, and like lulled into a state of delusion?
Well, maybe it's not Facebook, but maybe it's just the overarching way the world is currently, and it's just like the more, but like, what is Facebook's incentive in playing a part in that? Like let's say it's the government that wants to do that. Mm-hmm. What is Facebook's incentive? I don't know. Maybe something we don't see.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's hard for me to get my mind there, just because I think, like, I don't think it's good for anyone to have people in this constant state of ADD. And like, I think that to have like a functioning, peaceful society, which theoretically everyone wants, you want people to be able to like own their own attention and like be like, I don't know.
Totally. Something I've been thinking about a lot on this, because, I mean, we always talk about time and time anxiety, and I've been making a lot of videos on this topic, how you spend your time.
How long have we been talking about time anxiety?
Too much, man.
It's been like a year.
Geez. But my most recent thought about this, like, I don't know, I probably only had this thought a couple days ago for the first time, and it's already been one that's stuck with me, is that the more I find I am intentional with my time, the more I can slow down time. Like, if I'm in control of my time, it slows down and there's plenty. When I forget about my time, then it just vanishes. So I think my goal right now is how can I be intentional about every part of my day, and then the days feel long. They feel like you can get everything done that you want, because you're not going into these states of mind where you're not even you anymore. Like, you're gone sometimes. Like, what happens? We don't even know. We don't even realize that sometimes we're just gone. It's not us anymore. And we're just mindlessly, I would say half of our days, for myself on a lot of days, and most people, half of the time, we're not there. We're gone. We're somewhere else. And the more I can be present, then slow down the time, being controlled, then I just feel like that is the way I want to live.
Yeah. Like, it's like when you're out of control from your attention, then it's like the present moment seems like this thing that's like you almost never have it. It's like just small enough to be the thinnest sliver imaginable, and you can never quite have it. But then when you are in control of your attention, then the present moment is just like, well, no, it's always here. It's here.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely something I'm working on. And I think, like, you know, the ways to work on that are, one, keeping it in mind, meditation. I think the reading does help, I find. And as I was just saying, I can easily get distracted after a couple of pages or even getting myself to start. But I find that reading seems to be a practice of attention in a way.
It is.
Like, yeah, if it, on the days where I do read for even 20 minutes, let's say 20 minutes straight, like without doing anything else, after that, it's kind of like post meditation where I'm just in a different state of focus, or I have more control over my attention after I was able to successfully control my attention for that state of time, for that chunk of time.
It's well said. Even I might even get more meditative benefits out of reading than meditating.
Maybe.
Yeah.
And that's a good point. I mean, I think there's a lot of meditative things that aren't meditation, for sure.
Absolutely. And reading is a really interesting one because even like I'll consider running meditative, but my mind can still wander. There's about 10 things that I can be thinking about or doing at any given time when I'm running.
Do you run? Sorry, but do you run in the morning ever? Like, do you ever run? Are you like? Have you ever done that? Like, where those, like people that just run like right when they wake up, pretty much.
Today I ran a mile like maybe like an hour and a half after I woke up,
Okay.
but I'll never run like.
Yeah. Like super, like first thing.
Yeah.
I was thinking about that, and I mean, this is just me being like judgmental, but I was thinking about how freaking weird that is. Like, I think it's very. There's no way that's like good for your mental state. Like, these people that wake up at 5 a.m. because they have to be at work at 7, and the first thing they do is like, I don't even know. Just like they're so tired because they have lack of sleep, and the first thing they do is go for a run. It's just like cortisol, heart rate. Like, dude, you haven't even slept. Like, it's just I'm trying to start my days more peacefully, and I was thinking about that because I went out on the deck this morning, and there were a bunch of runners that I was up at probably like, I don't know, relatively early, like I don't even remember, 6:30 or something. Mm-hmm. There were a lot of runners out, and I was just like, you guys look like you just woke up. And I was like,
did they look tired?
Yeah, they do look tired. And that can't be healthy to be exercising intensely when you're really tired. And I mean, that's like being woken up in the middle of the night and being told to run for your life. Like, that's like, it's almost traumatic.
I mean,
do you see what I'm getting at?
I just think it's situation dependent. Like, if, like, do we know that these people didn't get enough sleep? If they did get enough sleep, then maybe they should get more sleep.
True. I'm like, I'm taking huge leaps, and I'm making the assumption that I think most people, whether they're running at 6:30 a.m. or not, most people are not getting enough sleep. I'm pretty comfortable making that statement. So I'd say there's a pretty high chance that people that are running before 6 or 7 a.m. are probably not getting enough sleep. I'd say that's fairly safe assumption. If people are getting enough sleep and they love running in the morning, then great. But you know, I think what I'm referring to is like the people that are like forcing themselves to do this. Like, the alarm goes off. It's like that. And they're like, fuck, I have to run.
These fucking alarms.
Yeah. First off, if you use that alarm, like, I don't even know what to tell you. You're just like, you got to stop using that alarm. Like, dude.
Yeah, those alarms are horrible.
Dude. Like, and then, like, that's a lack of awareness.
Like,
to be able
those
to,
alarm companies, what do they get? Some sort of sick pleasure from the sound? Why would that be the sound of your alarm clock?
It's so jarring. Like,
that's the equivalent of waking up a friend with a megaphone and be like, yo, wake up right now.
Get the fuck out of bed.
Like pouring
cold water, like ice, and like just slapping them in the face. Like,
I'd probably rather have cold water be poured on me than that sound.
Especially lately in the summer, dude, that sounds kind of nice. Like, it's been pretty hot.
It's like, of course I'm going to hit the snooze button. Fuck off, alarm.
Yeah. But no, I mean, if you...
Alexa actually has a pretty good one.
Really? Yeah. There's good ones. I mean, but that one, if that is the one that you choose out of the list of 50 different ones, I mean, you need to think about how you're treating yourself, right? I don't think that's too much of a stretch to say. It's like, if you're doing that, I mean, you're probably not treating yourself very nicely.
Yeah, even like...
It's not nice to yourself.
I'll, like some, like different girls I've seen, like, to leave your phone on
in the middle of the night on the bed and have the phone vibrate intermittently throughout the night. Are you kidding me?
Dude. Oh my God. Are you serious? I'd be like, I don't care how hot you are. Like, you are getting the fuck out of here right now.
I mean, I think it's just like people don't realize.
Yeah, no, yeah. I mean, I'm like mean about this stuff, but like, because I don't know, I guess I've just thought so much about this point that it seems kind of obvious to me, but yeah, how can you be okay with that? I mean, that's crazy, dude. I'm like, dude, that not only can that not be on vibrate, that shit has to be on airplane mode.
Yeah, a lot of people sleep with the phone in the bed.
Dude, yeah, or under the pillow.
Like some sort of partner or something.
Yeah.
Like, what's the benefit? Just put it next to the bed.
Dude, I saw some crazy statistic. I don't remember the exact number, but there was a study that it was for like 16 or 17-year-olds, and it said something wild, like 50 to 70% of 16 or 17-year-olds would check their phone at some point mid-sleep. Like, not while sleeping, but like during... Okay, I'm phrasing this poorly. They would at some point when they briefly wake up, they would check their phone and go back to sleep. I'm like, whoa, that is addiction. Like, that is next level.
Yeah, that's like
addiction.
the alcoholic that wakes up and takes a sip.
Yeah, I mean, dude, if you're mid sleep, need to check your phone, and it's just to check fucking your Instagram likes. We're back to that. Then you've gone off the deep end, and like you need to, swim back to this earth.
And people could be like, you know what's funny? It's like, from one perspective, are we are we these old guys that are just like, oh no, the technology and this is not healthy. This is not healthy. We're not, but like,
I really genuinely don't think so.
I know we're not.
Right. I think this is the narrative that's writing itself right now. We swung a little too far. Well, we swung considerably too far in one direction, and now, mental health is very popular to talk about, and minimalism is very popular to talk about.
Yeah.
And saying fuck social media is very popular to talk about. I mean, these are popular topics on social media, is to talk about the problems of social media,
which is probably not a bad thing. Like, mental health, minimalism, and talking about the problems of social media. I think all of that is mental health. Even you could say minimalism is a type of mental health, because it's saying, well, it's minimalism is really just a call to prioritize what's important.
Totally. Yeah, and those are definitely great things, but those are gaining traction because they are an antidote to this social mess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that the mental health of the world is suffering. I mean, I can maybe speak more to the U.S. because I live here, but I think that it's not, there's a lot of room for it to improve.
I agree.
And this is one of the things that we'll talk about Andrew Yang eventually.
I definitely want to get into that. I feel like we still have so much to get into, but I'm enjoying this so much, so I have like no rush to.
I agree. I need to pee.
We can take an intermission.
Cool. We back on?
Yes, we are.
Yeah.
Okay. And we're back. One thing that I wanted to say, based on what we were just saying beforehand, was about like the mental health of the world being so bad. And I agree. But interestingly, I feel like mine is better than ever. I feel like my mental health is better than ever, though. I feel like, there's so many things that we can do to improve it, and there is a growing awareness around it. So I would say there's a percentage of the population that's probably more like better off with their mental health than ever, and I would put myself into that bucket. Into that to some extent. I mean, there's still a lot of negatives going on for sure, but I mean, dude, I was definitely like a depressed, anxious, kid and teenager. I mean, for sure. Like, the vast majority of my time was anxious and depressed, for sure. And now I just feel like I have so many tools and there's just so much I can do to control the way I feel. I think now, I've just really tapped into being responsive to the food I eat, like we were just talking off the podcast for a second, or getting sun, breathing fresh air. I mean, these things just like light you up. Reading, having interesting conversations with people like this one. There's just sort of these hacks that bring me back to life, and I just feel better than ever. It actually ties into one other thing I wanted to bring up, just kind of random. Mm-hmm. But yesterday, Jessica and I were in Encinitas, like near San Diego, and there is this, I guess you would call it like a meditation park. It's the Self-Realization Fellowship, something. And it's this cool thing. There's like a temple there, but then there's like this whole garden area with like sitting areas and an incredible view. And this place was just so freaking tranquil and amazing. Just so much nature and smells and so peaceful. Everyone's just finding a bench and meditating in there. And there's this just unobstructed view of the ocean. And it was incredible. And part of why I bring that up is just because I need more of that, because it felt so refreshing and good. But I think it ties into what I was just saying a second ago, which is it's like a drug. I mean, it's like a happy pill that I never knew I had when I was just a sleep deprived, eating like shit, like just hating life teenager, you know? And I just didn't have these things at my disposal. And the thing is like most of them are free. Like most of the things that make me happiest now are basically free. I mean, I have a few like weird obsessions that are expensive, but I mean, the stuff I really need to be happy is like sun, fresh air, maybe a book, you know, maybe the ability to like listen to some podcasts and like, you know, go, you know, eat healthy food with interesting people. And, you know, those are the things that I think really give you the most life for me. Do you feel like your mental health is improving or declining?
I still feel like I'm in a big state of flux because, like I said, like I'm aiming to get my finances to a place where I'm not like worried about whether I'll be able to keep up this what I'm doing, and I think I'll get there. But like, there's just been this like money has been like just there, but not in abundance for like 3 or 4 years now. And like I was just like traveling for a month, and like that was so crazy, and like it was fun, but like there's just like a lot going on right now. And like different like relationships stuff that I won't get into, but
I've
like,
been there so much, but like I still, you know, get stressed about money. I still worry pretty much exactly the way you're describing at a lot of times. But I also, and I'm sure you're like this too sometimes, is I also think, you know, what is the worst case scenario? Like, why am I so worried about money? Like, like we were just saying a second ago, is I'm sure you think the things that really make you happy are cheap, you know? Like, if you had to, you could move somewhere cheaper. Like, you could, you know, there's so many ways to basically keep up our lifestyles for like almost free. Maybe a better lifestyle. I mean, some people would probably love to just, you know, live in a camper and drive around, or, you know, like go like literally camping, or, you know, just like
I want to do that too, but I want both.
yeah. Like have a nice, like a dope ass place to come back to in between.
Exactly. I want a home base. I want a camper. I want to get an Airbnb in Austin for a week. Like,
yeah, I want that too. I mean, I think at one point I want to like, I mean, I don't know if I've been saying this, but I don't know if I'd ever do it, just because I don't know really how to deal with it. But eventually, like, you know, buy places to have Airbnbs. I think that would be really cool to then just be able to pop around whenever you feel like it, and, you know, kind of maybe make some money, or at least kind of break even or offset some costs, and be able to travel places that you really enjoy.
Yeah, that would be. I agree. Like, every time I'll leave my apartment, like, theoretically there should be a way for people to just like live wherever they want, whenever they want, for a fixed monthly fee. And then if you're not in one place, then you don't get charged for that. Like, I don't know, like, why can't I spend 1 week here, 1 week there, 1 week there, 1 week there, and just like pay a monthly rent?
That's an interesting idea. I mean,
and there are things that are coming out like this.
Yeah, I mean, you could say, well, you could just constantly be getting new Airbnbs, or, you know, but that's not quite the same. But Yeah, it is interesting. I mean, one of the biggest reasons, I mean, I was thinking, yeah, I mean, if we wanted to go somewhere for a month, it's like one of the biggest expenses of that is the fact that we're still paying a month of rent.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like that's one of the biggest expenses of traveling. If you have a place, is that you still have to pay for your place that you're not traveling.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's one other thing. Oh, well, actually, before that, on like the mental health stuff, like, what do you feel like what are the things that are sort of helping you or good for you, like other than say meditation?
I think running and working out is really good for my mental health. I'll do yoga sometimes, and maybe at this point it's been like twice a month recently, but whenever I do yoga, I feel so good afterwards. Like, I just feel so good afterwards. Like, I feel so relaxed and at peace. And I wonder why I don't do it more.
Yeah, I need to get into it. Me and Jessica have been saying that. It seems like something we would have already been doing for years, but we don't.
Yeah.
I've never done it, actually.
Yeah, like, after a run or after a workout, I'll feel kind of, like, energized and, like, pumped up. But after yoga, I just feel at peace and calm, and, like, there's all this, like, pressure that's not on me.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah, I really need to. I mean, I'm sure I would love it. I imagine it being meditative, but also like, like relaxing, almost maybe comparable to like the way a float tank is in a way. Like you kind of come out of it like, ooh, I just feel a little like lubricated.
Yeah, I guess I would say that the feeling after a float tank and yoga can be similar, but the feeling during is anything but.
No, I definitely did not mean during. I definitely meant like the after effect. They probably couldn't be more opposite during. Yeah.
What else?
One, I mean, this could be too far down the rabbit hole that maybe you don't want to go, but one thought that was on my list of ideas and semi-related to kind of the weird future social media, scary conspiratorial stuff is how much thought have you given to deep fakes?
Not much, and I guess just if anyone's listening,
there's one person.
Yeah. Hi.
Shout out to Mike.
Mike. Yeah. So deep fakes. It means you fake a video. It looks real.
Yeah. Like, well, to define it a little further, let's say let's say there's a lot of video of me on the internet. And there's a lot of audio of me speaking on the internet, and that basically an AI video generator could make a fake video of what looks like me and sounds like me saying something that I didn't say. That's a deep fake.
I think eventually there's just going to be a way to prevent against it, such as like cryptographically signed videos by the uploader or something. Like I just think that the technology will evolve to prevent against it.
So it sounds to me like you haven't heard like the more terrifying,
perhaps not,
solution. Yeah. So there was something that so Duncan Trussell goes into this a lot, and dude, I can't give justice to the way that like what I heard on a podcast. It's always so hard to do that, but he was talking to somebody. I mean, he said this on multiple occasions, but about the freakishness of, say, okay, so those phone calls that you get like every fucking day. It's like, oh, it's like some robot shit.
We have a credit offer for you,
or like you must, you have a problem with your Social Security money, and you're going to be fined $10,000 if you don't return this call and give us your Social Security number. Okay.
Yeah.
So imagine this. Imagine your mother gets a robo FaceTime in 5 years, and it's you. And it's you. You're like, oh, Mom, like, can you, I'm filling out this form for, I'm like going to the doctor and they're asking for my Social Security, and I don't know. I'm like out right now. I don't have it. Can you send it to me? And it's you, and it's your face.
But it wouldn't come from my number.
They can spoof numbers. I mean, you can do that now. What if you could spoof it that way?
If you could do that, then there would be a software update that prevents it. Like,
I don't know. That's a little too trusting. That they'll find a way.
Nobody would FaceTime anymore.
They'll find a way. I mean, well, maybe it's not FaceTime. Maybe it's WhatsApp. Maybe it's Facebook. Maybe it's whatever.
I just think that if that was a bug, then the technology would evolve so fast to prevent it. And if it didn't evolve, then nobody would use it.
I get what you're saying. And hopefully, right?
Like, if you FaceTime me and there's a chance that it's not you, then I'm not going to answer it.
Yeah. Okay, he articulated this better than I could. But when you go down that rabbit hole, I was like thinking, like, holy shit, like, how are you going to know for real that it's really the person you're talking to? And he went into this whole like joke about like, he's like so like let's say me and you are like on the phone right now, and then like you get a call and it's me. And they like went through this whole like skit about like, okay, that me is not the real me. Like then you don't know like which one to trust and like all this shit. Like, but no, I think that shit's pretty terrifying. I mean, I think you bring up a pretty valid point. Is like maybe I should have more trust in the technology to not allow that, but there's still going to be stuff that can just spread in other ways, and it won't be certain what's real or what's not, because we don't, like right now, I mean, there's no sort of stamp of verification for what's real and what's not. You just kind of see something and you never really think it's not real because I see it. But if we get to a point where you don't know what's real or what's not.
Verification is an interesting word, especially with the social media platforms, because actually the verification badges, maybe they shouldn't be blue and center and this status symbol, but they do actually help all right, this is Joe Rogan.
Okay, so here's the thing. Let's leave out the part about spoofing the numbers, because I think that your main sort of way of wrecking what I just said was the spoofing the numbers. Let's just pretend I didn't say that part.
Okay.
Let's say
comes from a different.
Let's say your mother gets a phone call from a number that's not in her phone, and it's your voice, and it's saying, "I lost my phone. I'm like, I went to my friend or whatever, and like I don't have my wallet. I need you to like." You know what I mean? I mean, there's so many dude, there's a lot of ways that this technology could be used evilly.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't have to be like, how would you like, dude, I mean, if you called me from any number and you're like, dude, it's Sam, and it sounded just like you. Can you imagine being in a world where you'd have to be like, is this Sam? Like, I'm not really sure if this is Sam. Like, how do I know if I can trust this Sam? And then he was saying about this.
Like, well, what's the passcode?
Yeah, no, that's what he was saying. Is he was like, dude, we're gonna have to go to like offline passwords. Like we're gonna meet in person. We're gonna have a password, and then it's like if we don't say that password, then and I start saying some weird shit, then don't trust it. And another thing was what if it was used in say like a war setting? Like say you were trying to like invade a country and right before that, 10,000 people of the demographic that you found to be most vulnerable to this all received weird calls like at the same moment and caused some kind of a mass hysteria by like let's say all of LA got a call right now that, I don't know, a nuclear bomb was coming to LA. I mean, what would LA do? What would we do if we all got these calls from our mothers saying,
yeah,
like, oh my God, Sam, like they're not showing it, but like, dude, I just heard on the news. Like, what if, I mean, there's crazy scenarios,
but like, why are we like, what's the point? Like, what are we ever going to get to the bottom of? Like, I don't know. Like, I think that,
well, I think it's an important conversation to have because the technology to protect against it needs to be rock solid, because we didn't see this coming like this. I don't think so another funny thing he said was, we have preppers. Preppers are like like hoarding gasoline and all this stuff, but nobody prepped for this. Like nobody prepped for a world where you wouldn't know if it was your mom that's calling you or not.
A world that doesn't exist yet.
Right. I mean, it's just fun to think about.
No,
I'm only
agree,
bringing
yeah.
this. I'm not bringing this up because it keeps me up at night necessarily. I just think it's very interesting and amazing to imagine that this could happen, and this is kind of where it's heading right now.
Right.
If we don't, figure out how to control it, it could very easily kind of get out of control quickly.
I guess I agree with you. I guess that my issue, which maybe I have words for now, is I just think that it's not a good way to predict the future to imagine all of the ways that the bad is going to evolve, but none of the ways that the good is to evolve. Like,
I
to
agree.
imagine that the security standard, that like the evil technology will progress 10 years into the future, but the good technology will stay in 2019. Like, they both adapt with each other.
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
And I guess what you're saying is that people get more and more power over time.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to get to a weird place. I'm pretty sure there's going to be some weird things that happen with this at some point. And, hopefully they'll be pretty much like, practical jokes at scale type of thing.
Yeah.
But
I think it's just a race. It's a race. Technology is going to force humanity to either make peace with each other or kill all of each other.
Well, that got much further. Yeah, but I mean, yeah.
Like, I don't know. In the end, it's like we're not going to be able to like lock people away forever. Like, if it's human nature that we're all just going to blow ourselves up, then technology is just going to like eventually make that happen.
Maybe.
But I just have faith that people are going to kind of wake up.
Well, it's back to something we spoke about on, I think, the last podcast that was fascinating me then and still is now, is the weird luck that hasn't happened already is fascinating to me. Because we've constantly been developing weird technology that could blow up the world. We've constantly been in situations where people have been close to blowing up the world. But in this multiverse, it has not happened.
Right, yeah. It's a good
Right?
multiverse to be in.
Yeah, I mean, like, how convenient that, the Cold War didn't end in everybody obliterating everybody. Right?
Yeah. Yeah, I
Or
don't
some
know.
kind of false nuclear thing.
I guess I just try and not, like, I like thinking about the future and all that, but like these like apocalyptic scenarios, it's like, I think it's possible. I just don't think about it that much. Like, I think, I don't know, like, I'm much, like, I guess I'm just like not that interested in like spending too much time trying to prevent the bad. Like, maybe I'm full of shit.
Somebody's
right
got
now.
to do it, though.
You're right.
I mean,
Maybe.
we need, because what is for sure certain.
Does anyone really want to blow up the world? Even terror? Like,
I think okay. Here's the thing.
like
Here's
it's
the
all
thing,
we
though.
have.
Here's the thing. If every person on the planet had the ability to blow up the world, are you telling me that not one would do it?
No.
No, you're not telling me that? Or you think literally nobody would do it?
No, I think somebody would do it.
Yeah, I think somebody would do it. For goddamn sure. No question about it.
Somebody would be like, yeah, I'm not going to push the button.
Some angsty teenager would just, 100,000 people would push the button. Nobody would even know if they did it. They'd
Dad,
be like,
let me go to the party. Or I'm going to push the button.
Somebody would be like, I'm going to push the button. Boom. Like, they wouldn't even get to push the button. They'd be too late. Like,
it's like people commenting first.
No, I pushed the button.
Yeah. I would.
Dude, it would, dude, if everybody immediately had that capability,
you wouldn't even be able to circulate enough buttons before one
like nobody would even, we wouldn't even know it had happened yet. It would happen so quick. Dude. Yeah. So I don't think you can trust people to not blow up the world. And to zoom out for a second, I don't spend time thinking about negative stuff really either. But I just find this one particularly fascinating because it seems to be, it's not the traditional apocalyptic scenario, but it could cause the most mass hysteria we've seen. It's like a plague,
I guess it's just not as, there's a resistance to like diving too far down this rabbit hole on my end, and I don't know if I should or not, but I'm just like, I don't want to think about the world fucking ending in destruction. Like, yeah, maybe it'll happen, but I would much rather just like focus on today.
Same.
I'm not trying to like say you're wrong for thinking about it. It's just like, I don't know. Like, I can't like, it's hard for me to generate that many thoughts about this.
Like, interesting.
It's like, okay, like whatever. Like, are we going to blow ourselves up? Like, probably yes. Like, we're probably going to blow ourselves up over the next 100 years. I don't really know.
100 years? Whoa. Wait, you think the end of the world is within 100 years?
Maybe. I don't fucking know. Like, okay, probably. Maybe. Like, this shit evolves fast.
Wait. Maybe or probably? Those are very different. I think it's possible, but probably is... I mean, that's a bolder statement, wouldn't you say?
Not given with much confidence. I mean, I don't fucking know. Like, maybe we will. Like, it seems like the technology is evolving pretty quick, and technology evolves faster and faster as it goes on because it builds upon itself and it slowly approaches this singularity, which I do believe in that concept of technology is just going to get faster and faster, and it's going to get easier and easier and to build upon itself.
Because I mean,
and we're going to get easier and easier at learning, and I don't know. The whole thing is just call it a simulation, whatever you want. Like, the whole thing is just crazy. Like, I just like know that I'm already in like way over my head with all of this. Like, we're literally like, what is existence? Like, I guess it's like for me, it's even a little bit religious. Like, not in terms of a religion, but just in terms of like, I just like have faith that whatever circumstance that brought me here, or whatever circumstance that will like cause the end of my life, of the earth, of like the galaxy, whatever you want to call it, like I just like gonna let the whole thing happen. Like, I don't know, like I just want to make some cool projects.
So you're not the one to save the world?
Yeah, I don't want to save it.
What if I won't go that far down the rabbit hole, actually.
I don't know, like
I don't know that.
I mean, how could you not after saying what if never mind.
What if it all depends on you? What if you're the one that needs to wake the fuck up because you're the one that's supposed to do this?
I guess my philosophy is like, it does all depend on me, and it depends on me to just like wake up and do what I want to do and not worry. Like, it's like, I think it just depends on each individual person to wake up, and the best way to like wake up is just to wake up. Like, I don't know, like I just know that it takes a lot to focus on myself in my own life, and like maybe once I have more resources, once my life feels more stable, then maybe I will be able to save the world. But at this point, it just feels like I don't have the capacity.
I feel like it's important to think about negative things because a lot of positivity can come out of that, I feel. I mean, I think I do spend, it sounds like, more time thinking about negative things than you do, but it doesn't necessarily make me sad or upset. It can be very motivating. It can be very like, holy shit, we gotta do this about this because, oh my god, like this is gonna help so many people.
It helps you know the path forward to know where you don't want to go.
Yeah. I mean, like say for example, something I'm very passionate about, like the healthy food. I'll keep it broad.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think food is like this crazy mess. I mean, we have everything has glyphosate in it. I mean, everything. I mean, it's a disaster. I mean, you're going to go spiraling down this negative rabbit hole. But I think that's important because it brings light to what we can do and how we can fix it and how we should be eating better and how we can be treating our planet better and how we can be treating our bodies better. And you only get there by thinking negative thoughts first.
Yeah, I guess when you take away the positive and negative and you're just trying to get to the truth of everything, like there's like, in a sense, like truth is not positive or negative. It's just is what it is. Sounds all philosophical, woo-woo.
Okay,
I'm not, all right.
You guys can't see it right now, but Sam is actually levitating.
The acid has kicked in.
No, don't tell them.
All right, no, never mind. Folic acid.
Oh yeah. Actually, I took some methylfolate and some B12 this morning.
Yep.
Folic acid, I think, is the one that they actually use to fortify like cereals and can't be metabolized by most people. So it's actually a toxin, which is fascinating considering
that it's called acid.
Well, that too, but it's also put in as like something that your kids need to be healthy in their fucking sugar, glyphosate, dairy spew concoction.
Yeah, man, I think that all of the problems, quote unquote, in the world, like, it's just a matter of love and like self-love. Like, I think that we live in this like world of like, maybe it's religion and like maybe I should read some more books on this, but I think that like people have like the desire to like control other people and to like religion. It's like when you get a bunch of people saying this is the way to be, then like it feels comforting, but you're also like you can never be sure. And I just think like that like when people like I just think that it comes down to like self-love, and then when people have that like spark in themselves, then they just take all the steps.
Yeah.
It seems like a lot of the world is this like constant, not to get too woo-woo, but these are the words that I think about it in. It's like the world is this constant tug between love and fear, and everyone sort of wants the love to win out, but they're also sort of afraid at the same time, and that's the fear. Like, we all have both inside of us.
Yeah, there's a lot of people who are entertained by the fear right now. I think that, you know, they kind of enjoy that process, it seems, almost.
Yeah, because the fear is fun in its own right. It's like maybe a little bit more of a drug and like less sustainable almost by definition.
So back to earlier, it's like fear is almost the infection that is causing a lot of the distraction on, say, social media. Like that's what, like, so much of it is this political whatever, right, left, whatever. Like there's so much of that, and it's all sort of like fear and extreme and rage and nothing calm. Like no just decent conversation.
Yeah.
We should probably take that last detour to this is gonna be a weird U-turn in the podcast. We did say
politics in the last.
I did say politics, but I mean you can just take it away.
AndrewYang2020.com is the website that you want to go to support our newest.
This podcast is brought to you by Andrew Yang.
He gave us money to say this. Just kidding.
But he might give you money.
Ooh, good transition, Matt. All right, we're off the rails.
No, we're good.
We're on the rails. Yeah. So, I don't know. Talking about like, I think that, I'm surprised. I think he's at maybe 3% or less in the polls right now. So he's this very like fringe candidate. He was an entrepreneur. But what's interesting to me, and I might not even be able to communicate this on the podcast, is just that he seems to be the most authentic candidate that I see. Like, I'll scroll through Twitter and like I like a lot of the guys, like even Bernie, but like they tweet in the third person. Like, I see so many fucking tweets about like from Bernie Sanders' account. It's like, have a chance to meet Bernie and have dinner and talk politics. Like,
oh, what the? Like, that's like that.
Like,
is
that's
repulsive. That's gross.
Clearly, he didn't write it because he doesn't talk about himself in the third person. And like, nothing against Bernie, but like, he just like, none of these people get it, and like everyone is just like a caricature of a politician. People say these things like, we need to get back to the soul of the country, and we need to like take control of what's right for our kids, for our spouses, for our family, for our community. Like, what the fuck does that mean? Like, what does that mean? You're saying these words and they don't have any meaning. Like,
they just have the bug in their head. They don't even know what they're saying. I mean, they're just kind of repeating this recording of what a politician says in this scenario. It's like they've just kind of tuned into the right radio station of like what a politician would say, and like they don't even know what they're saying. They're just saying. They're just
these like talking points. Yeah. It's like, we need to restore justice, and that means to beat Donald J. Trump. It's like, what the fuck? Like, okay, like, yeah, like,
is that his middle? I don't even know.
That might be his son's. I'm not really sure, but like, it's either his or someone's. But there's a J somewhere in that family. Yeah, I think that the world, like, we don't need more politicians, and like, this is why even Obama won, like, because he has this charisma and he has this like unique like fire in him, and that's also why Trump won, because he has this charisma and he is the loudest energy, and they both have these loud energies, and also couldn't be more different. But there is a similarity between Trump and Obama, and I think that I saw Seth Godin writes these like small notes every morning, and I saw his from, I think it was yesterday. He said, politics versus governance. Politics is basically like petty squabbling and like fighting for power, whereas governance is it's mature, and it's the serious task of leading people. And I see Andrew Yang as someone who's like just coming from a real perspective. He seems like I think once more people find out about him, he seems like this just like well-meaning normal guy that has these interesting ideas for the economy. Like, for example, the idea that I shared with you is like there's all of these creative ideas, but one of them is political lobbying is basically like companies donate money, and then these people like more, it's like trying to give money to congressmen in the most like roundabout way possible. And there's, I'm sure, a bunch of regulations around that, but they still find a way. And you make a regulation, they just adapt, and they'll find a way. But what Yang proposed is, so there's $3 billion that got given to this in 2018. Yang was like, all right, am I going to make any more rules to combat lobbying? That's not the top priority. The top priority is we're going to give every American $100 a year to only donate to a politician. So there's going to be, do the math, it's like around $300 billion more or less, given to $30 billion given to Americans every year, compared to the $3 billion that's already in lobbying. Like that,
it's fascinating.
Yeah.
So I'll take this opportunity to interject. So I think everything he says is definitely intrigues me, and I think it almost all like the novel approaches that he seems to bring are fresh, and they catch your attention, and it's just it is kind of like our type of it's outside the box. It's
right.
It's not linear. It's kind of like, rather than just thinking of, from Trump we go to this, it's just like, what if we just did this other totally thing over here? It's just totally different. And it sounds interesting. I think the question is, how does this stuff really work in practicality, and does it work in practicality? Is it a good idea in terms of the economy? Because so you said it's currently $3 billion, and this would be $30 billion,
right? So it would drown out the lobbyists,
right? So and look, there is a lot of I'm sure there's a lot of covert lobbying. I mean, that's what lobbying mainly is. Lobbying is making something, it's why the fucking, what's the like nutrition organization that they'll still say like Coke is okay because they get funded by Coke. It's like that,
yeah.
And there's a lot of that. But I think where I like question it is the $3 billion comes from private companies. It comes from, very high wealth individuals who have an agenda. Whereas the $100 per person just comes from this massive pool of debt that the U.S. already has. And like, how do you just conjure more money? I mean, like, that's how, like, a lot of the reason that we have this economical society at all is just to pay back debts. it's because like the U.S. is drowning in debts, so we have to all work really hard and grow the economy. Because if we don't grow the economy, there's no surplus money to go pay back all these countries that we owe trillions of dollars to. So if we're in that boat already, is the solution to print more money and hand it out to people?
I mean, these are all really huge issues. I think that, like, I'm not going to make any headway into how to deal with the United States debt. I also think that, like, the United States is in such an interesting cultural position, especially after traveling. Like, the United States does have a lot of cultural pull throughout the world, and we are maybe technically in debt, but we are still a net exporter of value, I would say, to the world, just because of how much culture we export.
Yeah.
Which is a little bit beside the point, but I'm not really worried about the U.S. like at the moment in terms of like owing countries money. Like I just think like the best thing that the U.S. can do is like prioritizing the mental health of people and trying to have people be less anxious.
Those things contradict, because I think the reason that we are pushed for unhealthy growth is because of those debts.
Oh,
you know what I mean? Like, that's the reason that the economy needs to be, we need to burn our natural resources.
But if you give people, let's go to, so his big proposal is giving people $1,000 a month,
right,
universal basic income, so they don't have to worry about bare necessities like housing and stuff. And if you give people $1,000 a month, there's going to be a lot of people, like the United States, like, it's funny how Trump says like we need to like export more. It's like shit, like we do export, but it's digital goods, it's culture, it's videos, it's movies. And if you give people $1,000 a month, like, oh my God, how many creative people are gonna be able to make movies? Like shit,
yeah.
like if I had $1,000 a month, maybe I would have taken more creative risks than I have. Like, it's hard to.
That's a really interesting point,
risk.
like how Trump just thinks in terms of like steel and coal and like.
It's like shit. We don't need our best minds exporting steel.
Yeah, it's like it just reverts us to this like Stone Age or rather industrial age. It's
a time that's not now.
Yeah, that's strange to think about. It's very from another time. And look, I mean, I would take the $1,000 a month. I mean, I would think everybody I know would probably be a little bit better off with $1,000 a month.
Yeah.
But where's it come from? That's where my concern is. Like I feel like these ideas sound so cool, but then I'm like, are there second order effects that are worse?
So basically, to give everyone $1,000 a month is to set the like. All right, I'll look outside my apartment window and I see 6 tents. Like,
yeah,
people live on the street, especially in Los Angeles. There's literally people living on the streets everywhere. And I think that what the $1,000 a month is to say, like, oxygen is everywhere. Like, everyone has enough oxygen. But what the $1,000 a month is saying, look, like, we're going to make the floor higher. So instead of having a tent and, like, literally being homeless, we're just going to help you from falling down that hole. Because once you fall in there, it's hard to ever get out. And, how are we going to do it? We're going to just...
That was a weird sound.
It's like we're going to find a way. It'll either be through taxes. It'll be through something like... They'll find a way to get the money. Like, probably it's going to come from the GDP of the U.S., which comes from the entrepreneurs and the tech companies. Like, probably, like, he said there's going to be a tax on automation. So, like, the companies that benefit the most from automation, such as Amazon, probably Facebook. Like, basically, if you're replacing humans with your robots, then that's where the tax is going to come from.
$1,000 a month is, like, so significant, though.
Yeah, like, and we can get back to it, but I think that he's a candidate that everyone can get behind. Like, he's not divisive. Like, he's not divisive. Like, he's just like he seems like a very normal guy, and I think that once he goes on the debates, once more people learn about him, like, people are gonna open up to the fact, like, he's a guy that you'd be proud of. Even talking about the robocalling earlier, one of his proposals is to ban robocalling. He's like, look, and he phrases it really well too, to let you know the value. He's like, your attention is valuable, and you shouldn't be allowed to just like get these calls from these random companies. Like, this should be obvious. Like, we're gonna ban it. And he also said,
that's awesome. I clearly like the way he thinks.
Right. Exactly. And like another one, not to just like, I get excited about this stuff.
No, I'm really, really interested because first of all, I don't follow politics like at all. Mm-hmm. And so it's interesting to me. It's interesting how this has piqued your interest.
I just think that all of the other ones are so, like, Joe Biden's profile picture isn't even his face. It's just a little logo that says Joe. Like, the tweets talk about him in third person. Like,
he's a robot with skin over his gears and his circuit boards, and he's not real, and he's made up by AI.
That is true.
He's just filling a role. He's just playing a character. You're
right. He's got a cut one time, and the circuit board flickered.
Just like beep boop.
Him and Zuckerberg made in the same factory.
Dude, those like water the drinking water.
Oh yeah,
dude, that's like my favorite.
Yeah.
But no, it's really intriguing to me. I mean, I need to look into it more. I think where my brain goes, and maybe it's just a cynical place, is I just know that there's people that know politics more than me that are probably just thinking, yeah, that sounds great. And this is kind of what I'm thinking, but yeah, that sounds great, but like it doesn't make sense because blank. And there's probably some valid ones of those.
I just think that there are valid, like you can get any argument in the pro or the con, and there's valid arguments. People make sense, and it does make sense. But what's interesting to me is that he's a candidate that has vision for it. He's not imitating. He really has his own vision, and you can tell that it's just so real. And what I think is most exciting is not the individual proposals, but that the energy of it generates this country that you're excited to live in, that you feel proud of. Like,
the vibe is amazing. Yeah.
Like the vibe of cool.
It has like a certain sort of like young excitement to it.
Right. Like, it reminds me a tad of what generated behind Bernie in the last election. But even like I was kind of behind that, but like I can just get behind this so much more just because it all like makes so much sense. For example, another one of his proposals is every year on daylight savings, people don't get as much sleep on one day, and there's a measurable increase in car accidents.
Yeah.
And then the other time, there's also a measurable increase. And he was like, we'll get rid of it. We'll save lives. Like, all right.
Dude.
Cool. And something else he said is like, let's just have an extra hour of sunlight for half the year. Like, let's take it from the morning and put it at night. And I'm like, okay, I'll take that. Like, that makes so much sense.
Dude, when I was a little kid, I used to like rant so much about daylight savings. I was just like, this shit doesn't make sense. Like, why is the whole world changing our clocks just because farmers? And the thing that doesn't make any sense about it is there's the same amount of daylight no matter what it says on the clock.
Yeah.
Like, just fucking get up at a different time. Like, changing the clocks doesn't actually change anything. Like, it's made up. Like, why do we have to shift everything? It's just so weird. It's like, oh, well, now it's not sunny at 7. I don't know. It's just
it just makes sense. And while I'm on it, another one I thought of is one of his proposals is to invest in cryptography to prevent modern cryptography from being broken by quantum computers, which just makes so much sense. And it's one of his proposals. And
wait. Can you like explain that?
Yeah. So basically, the reason cryptography works, and even let's take into account Bitcoin mining. Basically, Bitcoin miners use the most powerful computers in the world to try every single combination of like what the quote unquote key could be. And what the key is it unlocks the data.
So everything that's encrypted right now, there's a certain key that could unlock it. More or less, right? Some things are just like not unlockable, but more or less, like if you, like even your social security number in some database, if someone knew how to break the encryption, I mean, that's what encryption is. It's what obscures the data, and if you can break the encryption, you can see the data. If somebody, basically quantum computers could just check in basically infinite amount of possibilities in any time. So you could probably, I'm not 100% sure, which is why I hesitate, but I'm pretty sure that quantum computers would break encryption. And
right,
would even break, let's say, like crypto or Bitcoin.
Right. So it's basically like
even bank info. It could be like the biggest data leak in the history of the world.
Wow, yeah. That's interesting. So just to understand this a little bit more, and then I want you to re-explain like what his whole thing about it was. But
yeah.
So it's kind of like brute force hacking passwords, but if you could brute force times like at like 1,000,000x speed. Is that kind of what you're getting at? It's like brute force at 1,000,000 speed.
Exactly. It's brute force, but it takes away the brute force of it because you only need the force
so
of
it's like
instantaneous.
yeah. It's like automated brute force at the speed of light, basically.
Yes, exactly. I'm looking up his page on quantum.
Yeah. So what did he say about it?
So, quantum computing and encryption standards. Our current AES-based encryption standards are very secure from attacks from current computers, which use transistors. It would take an inordinate amount of time to break current computation. However, quantum computers using qubits will theoretically be able to perform the calculations necessary to break our current encryption standards in under a day. When that happens, all of our encrypted data will be vulnerable. That means our businesses, communication channels, and banking and national security systems may be accessible. Other nations are investing heavily in quantum computing while simultaneously using their signal intelligence capabilities to collect and store as much encrypted data as possible. This encrypted data is useless to them now, but it will come invaluable once they create a functioning quantum computer at a certain power level. Some estimates put the timeline for this at a decade or less. In short, this is a problem that has to be fixed now. Two things must be done. I'm almost done, so I might as well just... First and immediately, we need to invest in and develop new encryption standards and systems and immediately shift to using these quantum-resistant standards to protect our data. This won't be easy or cheap, but is necessary. Second, we must invest heavily in quantum computing technology so that we develop our own systems ahead of our geopolitical rivals.
It's so interesting that he's bringing up stuff that like nobody else is talking about. Like I already forgot now, but there was an example from a few minutes ago that I was just like, oh, well, even like the daylight savings, I think was one of them, but and something else. But he's just talking about like that's not the usual sort of political agenda, and I like that. And I think that's also what's interesting is that's also kind of an end of the world scenario, kind of like deep fakes,
right?
So he's thinking about a worst case and he's coming up with interesting solutions.
Yeah, but I think this is almost more on the horizon than deepfakes.
Well, I don't know anything about quantum computing. How close are we to that?
I mean, the quantum computers, like Google has working quantum computers, I'm pretty sure, and they're still just technological setbacks, but it seems like it's moving.
Is it called quantum as kind of almost like a play on words? I mean, it's not actually using quantum.
No,
or is it?
I think it is, yeah. It uses qubits and it uses quantum. It's not just like a marketing term, I'm pretty sure.
Interesting.
Uses like
whoa, so
quantum physics.
Interesting. I know very little, but it sounds like it's something that I should know about. I mean, I didn't realize that was the impending doom that I should be thinking about rather than yeah.
And it's interesting, even with Bitcoin and crypto, people say like, well, what if a quantum computer is invented and just derails the entire system? And the response to that, which strangely actually has been satisfactory for Bitcoin, is like, if a quantum computer is invented, then we have far bigger things to worry about than Bitcoin and crypto. Like that's going to destroy everything. Like nations could use that to get each other's intelligence. Okay.
Now this is a rabbit hole that I'm very excited to go down.
Yeah.
Later, but wow, that's interesting. But So again though, like, cause say like the deep fake thing, I think we're, a couple of years away from that being like very, very effective technology. But like with this, are we talking 1 year? Are we talking 10 years? What, I mean, I don't know.
He said on the thing 10 years or less.
That's pretty crazy. Wow. That's interesting.
I guess with this, it's just like, it's a one-time thing. It's like once your data is unencrypted, then they have it.
Yeah.
Whereas a deep fake, it's like, I don't know. I think it's just a different type of thing.
Well, we put entirely too much trust in everything encrypted. I mean,
yeah.
But then on the other hand, it's like, what do we really have to protect other than our fake money? That, like, other than that, I mean, what do you really have to hide? I mean,
it is interesting.
Like, we shouldn't have to really hide any data. Well, I don't know. I mean, there's definitely like, proprietary business stuff, but I mean, like, personal info or something, like, I mean, there shouldn't be much we really have to hide other than keeping our money protected.
Yeah. I mean, and theoretically, if there's a world with enough resources, then theoretically resources can approach almost infinite, similar to like air.
So where you don't even need money. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, ideally you wouldn't, right?
Probably.
Money is just because there's scarcity.
And you could just get anything you wanted. And
I mean,
but you need some kind of,
you're right,
balance with what to produce.
Yeah.
Then again, I mean, I guess supply would just meet demand based on what people want with no actual exchange. But then why are they going to put their effort into producing it if they're not gaining anything by producing it,
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think that a world without money is very, very, very far on the horizon. I just think like it's theoretical, and like looking even to where the world was 100 years ago with people spending hours and hours in factories compared to now, it's just we've moved towards this future where we don't need to work as much.
Yeah. I mean, a huge thing brought up right now a lot is socialism versus capitalism, basically, which interests me, and I just don't know. Man, I can't speak very intelligently.
It's hard for me to know, and if I say I love capitalism, that isn't to say that I oppose socialism, but I love capitalism because, especially over the last few years, I realized like it's this system that encourages people, like people that have a certain ability, you are rewarded for giving all of that ability to the system. For example, people are not equal in their abilities. Some people are able to produce more than others. But for those people that are able to produce more than others, you also want to give them an incentive to basically get what's fair in exchange for that production. If you make a cool video, maybe you'll make more money from it. And it's like fun for people to be able to use their creativity to get resources. And it motivates people just very, very naturally. So I love that. But one of the things I don't like is that on the flip side of it, it's like if people go on hard times and like there's just nothing looking out for them and they can just fall down the black hole of society.
Interesting. I feel like I see that side differently. I mean, not that I disagree with that. I think that's accurate, but I feel like my mind goes somewhere else first.
Interesting.
Which is on the pro-capitalism part, I pretty much agree. Like, I think that a lot of good can come out of incentivizing good things. Businesses that create a better world get rewarded, and then people try to create what people want, which leads to a better world and people making money, and it's all kind of good. Where my mind goes for the downside, and maybe this is just not a good and maybe a too privileged way of thinking of it, is I didn't even think of I mean, obviously there's a lot of poverty and there's a lot of problems like that, but what I thought about is just that without some kind of cap where capitalism becomes socialism at the highest levels, or some kind of regulation within capitalism, it's amazing how some businesses can make billions of dollars by creating something that makes the world better. You know, let's say Tesla becomes wildly profitable and, you know, makes the world a better place. Meanwhile, some companies have made their billions of dollars by literally pumping shit into the oceans. And it's just amazing that is allowed. Like, whoa. Like, so your business is just taking a big fat shit on the entire earth for everybody, and that's how you make your money. Like, wait, what?
I guess somehow the economy works. The man is down for it.
Yeah, like you know, I mean, even around here in LA, you know, it's like, you know, what's a really good company in LA?
Like socially good.
Yeah. If you can think of one. I couldn't think of one, which is why I put it on you.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't need a...
I mean, you just brought up Tesla.
Let's just say Tesla.
Are they in... I think they're in the Bay Area.
Well, they're down here, but they're
SpaceX.
They're everywhere. Sure. We'll use Tesla because I can use it as a better experience. It doesn't have to be LA. Whatever.
Okay, Tesla.
Tesla makes their money by, you know, potentially fighting, you know, like emissions and, you know, making things more efficient and, you know, making energy like basically a new ecosystem of energy. I mean, it's an amazing goal. It's beneficial. Obviously there are downsides along the way, but it's ultimately like a beneficial goal. Meanwhile, you have fucking Chevron over here in El Segundo that's just like pumping fucking death gas into the air 24/7. That's capitalism, and that's a problem too. But at the same time, I'm like very pro capitalism because I'm very pro, like, you know, making something good that the world needs and being rewarded for it. And I think that drives a lot of good social change. But it seems like there's these kind of evil players that can find these little loopholes where it's like, hey, well, we can make a bunch of money by doing this shit that benefits us and fucks everybody else. And they're just, I mean, that just shouldn't be okay.
It's like in Chevron, why are they pumping the shit into the air? Because then it's gas and it powers cars, and it's in the end, like, I want to be able to drive to Matt's and do a podcast, but there's all these externalities.
But a lot of it, like, it's like we didn't think about the consequences when we took the benefit, you know?
Yeah, it's like, it's the consequences part.
Yeah. And
somehow, like, money is meant to measure contribution, but somehow there are these loopholes where people can dance around and like money was just invented by people, and it's supposed to be a measurement system, but it's not perfect. And like, it aims at something, but there are ways to take advantage.
Exactly. There's like these glitches. Like
glitches is a great word for it.
Yeah, the glitches are the people that are just like the businesses that make billions by pumping shit to the oceans, pumping shit to the air. You know, I mean, I'm sure there's other even more like discrete examples of this that aren't immediately obvious to my brain, but like, I mean, I don't know, maybe you could even argue like Facebook and all the stuff we were saying about this kind of like undertone of negativity. Maybe that is an example.
They're just making money at all costs. Like,
there's this class of businesses that's a good way to put it, making money at all costs, and the costs are not necessarily financial
like,
to them.
Like, it's like if money is meant to measure the good that you're doing, then ideally you focus on the good that you're doing and the money follows. But if you focus on the money and you forget about everything else, then it's this fucking vicious feedback loop.
Yeah, like there's it's like there's a lot of businesses that are just kind of good by default. You know, like I have no problem with, I don't know, a place that sells acai bowls and they just think that's a good idea and they just want to, like, you know, serve some people some stuff they want to buy or whatever. Like, I don't know. It's like, maybe that's a weird example, but then there's just some businesses, I don't know what the percentage is, where it's like their ethics are flipped upside down. And it's like they get to do something immensely fucked up for the whole world just to make their money. And it's like, whoa, that shouldn't be that way. It doesn't make sense. It's like what if you could make money by burning down people's houses? Like, that's kind of what it's like. It doesn't make any sense.
That's funny. I was probably about to use an example that was like more or less along those lines.
Yeah, like that's kind of what it's like, though. It's like, what if you would just get paid to burn down people's houses, and like the people would be homeless,
or to like blow smoke into people's faces?
Yeah.
Making them cough.
Exactly.
Shit.
Like, yeah, or to like What if you got paid every time your dog took a shit and you didn't clean it up?
That could be a title.
Yeah, like then we would just have shit everywhere. People would be stepping in it, and most people wouldn't do it because they'd be like, that's fucked up. To like, you know, I don't want other people to step in shit, so I'm not gonna make my money off letting my dog shit. But then some people would be like, you know, I'm gonna get a whole fleet of dogs. We're gonna just shit everywhere. We're gonna have like a dog factory. We're just gonna like, you know, like 3 times a day. We're just gonna go out on these walks and just shit everywhere.
And some guy with money is like, yeah, I just want to fucking do this. I'm gonna do it here.
Yeah, exactly.
How much money can I give? Right. I'll give you $1 billion.
Yeah. I was just gonna say, some billionaire is gonna be like, well, hey, wait. How can we get all the dogs? How can we, you know, okay, we need to set up a breeding facility. We need to feed them to poop more. Well, let's come up with a strategic food that makes them shit 100 times a day. Huge, not just like little poops, like big poops 100 times a day.
Yeah.
We'll figure that out, and then we'll just run these dogs.
It's actually kind of a perfect example.
I mean, it was funny at first, but now I really like the example.
Yeah, it reminds me of what they do to like chickens.
Yeah, like factory farming. I mean, I'm a big proponent of well-sourced meat, you know, grass-fed from reputable farms, but commercial farming is a disaster. It's kind of exactly what we were talking about. It's just desolate.
Yeah, man, it's the drawbacks of capitalism, and it's like, you could even say it's the drawbacks of money, because theoretically, if money was a perfect measure, then it would all work great. Like, if you could somehow arrange the numbers to work out, like, you need to arrange the system so that the dog shitters can't make money.
Right, like there needs to be some other variable in there that, like, I don't know, like a social good or a social acceptance variable that, you know, if that, like for the dog shitting example, that would be like a -10 times the variable or whatever. So it would like flip the whole equation upside down, you know? Something like that is what it would need.
Yeah. It's 5:30.
But anyways,
I had to do.
Yeah, we definitely went a bit. We said we'd shoot for 1 hour and 45, and we're at 2:21. So let's wrap it up. But I really enjoyed that conversation. If anybody is listening,
no, we'll take a minute. We don't need to like. Well, okay. Any final thoughts on?
I just really enjoyed this conversation, all aspects of it. Like, I feel like we hit on a lot of different things, and it was just good to chat.
Yeah, we're just hitting back and forth, and like,
I feel like this one I kind of want to listen to in a way.
Yeah. Like, especially capitalism.
Yeah, that was interesting. We definitely, maybe we'll footnote that one for next time to like go even deeper on or something like that. Because and I don't get too political usually, but I mean that aspect is interesting.
Yeah, it is. It's like in the sense of the Seth Godin thing. It's like, I'm not being political. Like, I'm just talking about governance. You know?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Part of me feels like maybe like, why am I resisting talking about politics? Like, maybe I should be putting my mental power into giving my take. But then on the other hand, I'm like, maybe that's just so stupid. And why am I getting preoccupied by that bullshit? And, you know, this is just a big fucking entertainment event every 4 years, you know? It's just some bullshit. It's just some stupid bullshit. Yeah.
It's surrounded by bullshit, and it's dripping of bullshit.
Yeah, it's just...
And there's these people with these hidden agendas and these liars.
They are dog shitters. I mean, the whole like the political system is a dog shit.
And everyone
business.
is like, it's baked with ego and identity, and like it feels like a big fucking football game.
Yeah, it's a big. Everyone's like, especially right now, it's just like out chest puffing, like just, you know, name calling, just like angry, red face,
Twitter dunking.
Yeah, Twitter dunking. Is that a phrase? I don't know it.
I've seen it recently. I like it.
I like that. That's accurate. But do you have any final thoughts?
Yeah, no, I love the conversation too.
Yeah,
it's great. Well, and we'll do it again soon.
We'll definitely do it again soon. Like, sure. I feel like we keep saying that, and then it kind of. How long was the last one? Maybe
like a month and a half.
Yeah, I was thinking a month and a half. Exactly what I was thinking. Let's shoot for let's do it in like a couple weeks.
For sure.
2-3 weeks. Maybe.
I know what we'll do. So I'm about to go home for like 2 weeks.
Okay.
Actually, I'm going home for a camp reunion one weekend. Then I'm doing a week in Austin, and then there's that Noah Kagan bike ride that I told you about, and then I'll come back
So
yeah, let's like
we'll do
shoot
it
for, you know, kind of like this time, like, you know, within, we'll find a time right away, but I'm excited for that. But if anyone's listening to the end, we really appreciate you, and let us know, like, seriously, just send us a personal DM. Just be like, I listened to the end.
Yeah, please do it. We really appreciate it.
Or about any, I mean, well, if you're not listening now, then you wouldn't have heard this earlier. But even if you listened to part of it, just let us know.
Whether you're in this multiverse, another multiverse, and at whatever multiverse you're in.
Even if you let your dog shit on the sidewalk for money, we just really want to know.
In that case, contact Matt and not me.
Yeah, okay.
I don't want to deal with that.
Yeah, I'll invest in you.
All right. I think it's time.
It's definitely time.
Right.
That's it.
Now.